C.G. Marshall. Over and over, the philosophers ask the same questions. In all times, in all places, for all men, the mysteries remain. What is life? What is death? From whence do we come and where do we go? The ignorant, barbaric savage bows to the sun and says, "Behold, God." Whereas we, sophisticated, civilized, consider the sun as energy expressed in formulae and equations. But do we really know any more about the sun than he does?
Okay, Georgie, the case is closed.
No, Captain Prescott, the case is still wide open.
But we got the killer.
We don't have the killer.
100 people saw him pick up that knife and stab her with it.
He didn't do it.
Not only did 100 people see him do it, he also admits he did
I
it.
still say he didn't do it.
Are you telling me that 101 people are crazy?
I don't care what they saw. He did not kill his wife.
Okay. I'll go along with it. Who did?
The high priest of the Wolf Clan.
Is that right? Who is this high priest?
I don't know.
Oh, so you don't know. Do you maybe know where we could find him?
You can't find him. That's impossible.
Oh? Is it? Why?
He's been for maybe 1,000 years. But he's your killer, Captain.
Our mystery drama, The Night of the Wolf, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Sam Dan and stars Michael Tolan. We are in a bright, bustling city in our own Southwest. A new city, but an old settlement. Almost 100 years before the Pilgrims landed in Massachusetts, the Spanish adventurers came here in quest of gold. And when they found none, they went away. After a while, the conquistadors were succeeded by a new breed of explorers who understood that gold doesn't have to be hard and yellow. Gold can also be liquid and black. And thus, a new city was built here. A gleaming city of metal and glass. A new city, but not the first city. For thousands of years, men of many kinds and various colors have built cities here. Cities that have flourished and vanished. Right now, it is an early evening during the spring, and we find ourselves in a museum gallery, which features an exhibition of the primitive cultures of those early years.
Terry.
Yeah?
Fix your top shirt button.
But it's hot in here.
Close your collar and pull up your tie. You look like an ape.
Okay.
Don't embarrass me in front of my friends. Hello, Colonel McKeever. Hello. Terry, don't look so bored.
I don't look like nothing.
A little culture won't kill you.
Why do you make me come to these things, Enid?
Because everyone who is anyone is here.
Yeah, okay.
And you're not to touch a drop.
Now, look.
You ought to keep away from the refreshment table. Do you understand?
Yeah.
In a moment, Colonel. Colonel McKeever wants to ask me something. Terry, can I trust you to stay here?
Of course.
Don't wander off and make a fool of yourself, and don't touch a drop of liquor.
Okay.
Terry? Terry? Oh. Why do I always have to look for you? Colonel McKeever wants to talk with you.
Yeah.
Terry, what are you staring at? What's so fascinating about that shabby old thing? It looks like a little old lady's faded bathrobe.
Well, it isn't.
Oh, of course it isn't. I can read. Ancient ceremonial robe. Said to belong to a high priest of the Wolf Clan. Possibly Mojave or kindred tribe. Well, what's so all fire and interesting about it?
Shut up.
What did you say?
I said, shut up.
Do you mean you're telling me?
Who says I can't tell you to shut up?
I warn you, Terry, do not make a scene.
You know something? I think I will make a scene.
Terry, have you gone mad?
Maybe.
Let's get out of here quickly. We won't even wait for the car to come.
We won't?
We'll hail a cab, and I'll...
And what?
I'll take you to a doctor.
Why?
Because something something has come over you.
Maybe something has.
People are starting to stare at us.
Well, so what?
Terry!
You! Hey, you over there! What are you looking at?
Terry, you're embarrassing me.
Hey, I mean you! You, the fat slob with a face like a pig!
Terry, we've got to leave here.
Enid, we ain't going nowhere.
I demand that you...
Shut up! Well, what are you looking at, huh? You know me? I'm Terry Jessup. 10 years all-pro middle linebacker till I busted my knee. And I got so scared that I had to marry this witch broad.
Terry, you've gone mad.
I let her father buy me. I let her old man buy me.
Terry,
And break me. You ruined me. You ruined me. You and your old man, you used me. My name, my reputation, you used me to sell that crooked stock of yours, those dry wells.
Please, somebody call an
I
ambulance.
haven't got a real friend in the world because of you.
Are we terribly
That's why I'm going to kill you. Go away, baby. I'll break anybody in half who tries to stop me. Terry, put down that knife. Sacrificial knife. 1,000 years old. Still good. Look, the point. It's still... He killed her, too. I told you. Yeah. I killed her. Maybe somebody ought to call the cops. I don't know why, Lieutenant. I don't know.
Just answer this. How long have you wanted to do it?
Well, I never wanted to do it.
Yeah?
Well, something just came over me, that's all.
That's not true.
I swear, Lieutenant.
Now, you forget you killed her in front of 100 witnesses. You said that her old man bought you.
I never said any such thing.
Now, don't fight it, Terry. 100 people heard you.
But I don't remember saying it.
Do you believe it?
No, I don't believe it. Why would I?
You said they used you to sell a phony stock.
Well, how could...
Terry, I wouldn't say this if I didn't get it from people who were standing there. You said that you lost all your real friends because of them.
It's crazy.
That's what you said.
Well, how could I say a thing like that? I was in love with her.
Still in all, Terry, you killed her. Why?
I don't know. I was so much in love with her, Lieutenant. I mean it. She was the kind of woman that I wanted all my life. Girl with class.
Sure. But those words you said to her, that anger that made you say them, where did the words and the anger come from?
I'm telling you, I don't know, Lieutenant. I must have been out of my head.
Sure.
Something came over me.
What?
I got scared. It was like nothing I ever felt before.
Like what?
Something in that place. Just something in that museum. Something wild.
Come on, Terry. What could be wild in a museum?
It was like something set my mind on fire. And the words, everybody heard me say, I didn't even know I was saying them.
And did you know you killed her?
It was like something had to be driven out of me. You understand?
No.
Something that was wrong, something that had to die, and if she wasn't standing there, I would have killed myself.
Yeah.
There's something in that place.
Sure.
Believe me. You gotta believe me.
I'm not the one who has to believe you. A judge and a jury has to believe you.
It's in that place, Lieutenant. Something is in that place.
Now, Miss Atkins, you were here last night. You saw what happened.
I've already told you, Lieutenant.
Terry Jessup says that something came over him.
Oh, I'm sure something did.
He says something in this place, something here in this museum, drove him wild.
Something in here?
Yes, Miss Atkins. Now, what is there here that could do
Look
that?
for yourself. We have pictures on the walls. We have some sculptures, some artifacts.
Has anything unusual ever happened here before?
Well, now, what unusual thing could ever happen in a museum?
Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, Miss Atkins, I guess that's all.
Although,
Yes?
well, this is of absolutely no use to you in terms of last night, but, well, we did have an incident here, about 3 weeks ago. We had a fist fight.
A what?
Uh-huh. There were a party of 4. 2 men, 2 women. And suddenly the men started a violent fight. Unfortunately, the guards were able to restrain them.
What did you do?
Well, the guards hustled them out of the building, but the 2 men kept going at it on the street. Finally, the police came.
And then what?
Well, I don't know. It's just that you asked me about unusual things. And since we have so few of them, well, almost anything would stick in my memory. Yes, it was exactly 3 weeks ago. And then there was another incident.
When?
Well, that's the peculiar thing about it. It was just about... No, it was exactly 3 weeks before that.
You sure?
Yes, I remember because it was the first of the month. And the first day of this special early American Indian exhibit.
What happened?
Well, there was a man. And he was standing, well, right where Jessup was standing. And also right where those other 2 men were standing. The exact same spot.
And?
He was an elderly, dignified, well-dressed man. And all of a sudden he shouted, "I'm wrong, I wasted my life." And with that he emptied his pockets. He threw his watch and his ring and all his money away. And then he started to take off his clothes.
And then what?
Well, the guards just restrained him, and he was taken to the hospital. So, well, all I can deduce from all of this is that every 3 weeks for the last 9 weeks, we've had some kind of violent situation. Does any of this help you?
It's interesting, but I don't see where it can take us.
Oh, well, I'm sorry you couldn't learn anything, Lieutenant Miller. Do you have any further questions?
Just one. What time do you get off?
6.
That's exactly 15 minutes from now.
Your watch is slow. It's less than 10.
How about some dinner?
But you've never asked.
Georgie?
Yeah, it's me. Did I wake you?
Oh, no. Oh, had your supper?
Yeah.
What did you eat?
Oh, I don't know. I just grabbed this sandwich on the run.
Oh, you shouldn't do that, Georgie. You've got to have a balanced diet. That's why I like you to eat at home when I can make sure.
Okay, Myra.
Did you put the money in the checking account? Georgie, you got to talk to Jerry. He won't do his homework, and the teacher sent home another note. Jenny has to see an orthodontist, I think.
Okay. I'll take care of everything.
When?
Starting Sunday, I get 3 days off.
No, but you never take your time
I
off.
can't just walk off in the middle of a case, Myra.
Where were you tonight?
Where was I tonight? Where do you think I was tonight? I was with some beautiful blonde. We had cocktails and dinner. Then we went dancing afterwards at a nightclub. And then we wound up the evening in a bachelor pad.
I'm sorry, Georgie. Oh, I know it sounds like I'm nagging you all the time, but there's just too much for me to do around here. All by myself.
I know. But, honey, once I make captain, you'll see everything will be okay.
You used to say that before you made lieutenant.
Yeah, but just wait. Everything will work out.
Sure, I know it will. I'll tell you what. I'll make us a snack, and we can sit up and talk.
Now, honey, I'm beat. It's been a long, long day, and I got to get an early start in the morning. You understand?
Sure, Georgie. I understand.
That's what we need in this world. More understanding wives. Well, we've been weaving several threads here, and it seems that the museum appears to be central to all of them. And this museum will have a few more interesting, if somewhat deadly, exhibits on display for us when I return shortly with Act 2. The other night, Terry Jessup, an ex-football player who was considered to be, for all his size, a rather calm and gentle person, suddenly went berserk. and murdered his wife. This came as a surprise for two reasons. First, everyone had always assumed that he worshipped her. Second, he killed her in a museum, of all places.
You going to be home for supper, Georgie?
I don't know, Myra. I'll have to call you.
Why don't I just figure you won't be, as usual?
That might be best.
Promise me you'll eat.
Sure.
Honey, you're at the age where a man can start to get all kinds of things wrong if he doesn't watch himself.
I'll take care of myself, Myra. Look, honey, I know you got the kids all day in the house, but,
But what? It's just how it works out. You've got your job. I have to put up with it.
Well, that's just it. You say you have to put up with it.
Well, I do, don't I? Like these other men in this neighborhood, they have jobs out at 9, home at 5, Saturday and Sunday off. And that's it.
Well, you knew I didn't have that kind of job when you married me. You knew what life would be like on the floor.
I also knew some 9 to 5 cops.
Yes, and you knew I wasn't one of them.
Honey, I just wish you didn't have to work so hard.
But I like to work hard. You know your problem?
I don't have a problem.
You should develop some interests.
I've got plenty to do around here.
No, I mean away from here. Something that you do for yourself. So you can also develop as a person.
Georgie, all I asked you was if you were coming home for supper.
I'll try.
Look, if we eat early, maybe you can help me paint the floor of the basement. Oh, honey, and the cold water faucet, the downstairs tub has to be fixed.
Look, I'll tell you what. You make a list of all that stuff, and I'll take care of it.
You know, Georgie, you never talk to me about your work. Maybe that's what's wrong with us.
I didn't think there was anything wrong with us.
Well, I was reading in a magazine a wife should share more of what her husband does.
Well, you know about this football player who killed his wife.
Oh, if there's one sport that leaves me cold, it's football.
He says something in the museum made him do it.
What?
Well, I guess you could say some spirit.
Oh, he must be crazy.
No, it could be true.
Georgie, are you crazy?
Honey, when you're a homicide detective, anything has to be considered.
Don't say a word of this to anybody else. They'll say you're nuts.
No, but there's evidence.
Evidence? How can there be evidence?
Other people.
Look, you can find nuts anywhere who will... Oh, honey, on your way home tonight, pick up a gallon of deck paint. Get a light gray, will you, dear? Don't forget.
No, I won't forget.
Hi.
Hello, Polly. You busy?
Swamped.
Maybe I better come back another time.
Oh, you do that.
I shouldn't be here, Polly.
I won't say a word.
We agreed last night it mustn't go anywhere.
Oh, yes. We agreed.
But last night would have to be the end of it.
I know.
But the real reason I'm here is this does happen to be the scene of the crime.
That's true.
Something in this place made Terry Jessup kill his wife, made those other people go crazy.
Something?
I don't know too much about it, but it could be some kind of spirit. You think I'm crazy?
No.
Well, the way I figure it, these tribes, they believed in magic. It was their religion. Maybe there was some truth in it for them. And so...
Well, go ahead.
And so these things, these knives and clothes and the things here, the magic could still be in them. Or on them or something. Now you go ahead and call the guys in the white coats.
Probably no such thing. I always believed in that myself.
But you're educated.
So are you.
I don't have the books.
You don't need the books. Come here.
Polly, it can't go anywhere.
Where does it have to go? It's already arrived.
Polly, can I see you tonight?
Why do you feel you have to ask?
Captain Prescott. Oh. Yeah, I'll see him. Morning, Georgie. Sit down.
Listen, Prescott, why am I being assigned to the Kenilworth thing?
Because it's a good live murder and just a job for a smart detective like you.
But I'm still with the museum killing.
What is it with you? Jessup is already in the cooler waiting for his trial. It's gone past.
But we have to find out why he did it.
No, that's going to be for the psychiatrist to rumble about. What a field day those birds are going to have.
Look, I'm running down an angle.
Yeah?
At the museum.
Yeah. I know her name, too. Polly Atkins.
What are you talking about?
Come on, Georgie. Everybody knows about it. Everybody except Myra, maybe.
I don't know what's happened to me. Look, it's the first time I ever stepped out of line. You have to believe that.
Okay. I believe it.
And I didn't even plan it. I didn't even know I was doing it. I just asked her out before I could even think of what I was saying.
You still in love with Myra?
Yes.
Are you?
No, I don't know. It's all so mixed up. She's everything I ever wanted.
Who?
Polly. Cool, smart.
Sure. She doesn't have to worry about running a house and taking care of kids.
I know all that, but I just have to have her, Prescott, that's all.
Where does it lead?
Nowhere. It's just free and easy and relaxed.
Where does it lead, Georgie?
I told you, nowhere.
That's not good enough for you. There are guys who can waltz in and out of these things with one dame after another. Not you.
Listen, Prescott.
Georgie, a thing like this is going to rip you apart.
I told you, it's just laughs.
You don't have that kind of humor. Break up with her.
I can't.
So it is serious. Georgie, break it up before it kills you.
What are you talking about?
I said my piece, Georgie.
Look, I've got this lead. Just give me a couple of more days to tie this one up.
Sure.
Yes?
Mrs. Stanley Howarth?
Yes, but not for long, Brown Eyes. I've already had the paper served on big-hearted Stanley.
I'm a police officer.
Oh. Well, do come in.
Your husband, Mr. Stanley Howarth.
Do we have to talk about him?
About a month ago, you, your husband, and another couple, a Mr. and Mrs. Andrew Seeley,
Yeah, that's another great pair.
were in the Museum of Indian Art.
I still don't know whose bright idea that was.
Suddenly, your husband and Mr. Seeley started swinging at each other. Why?
Why?
Yes.
Well, I don't know.
Did anything happen that would have created a fight? They just couldn't start swinging at each other for no reason at all.
Well, the truth is, neither of them's a great intellect, if you know what I mean.
Could you just tell me everything that happened while you were in that museum?
You got a one-track mind. Well, let's see. I don't know why we went there. But Betty Seeley said, let's go for laughs. Shows you where she is. So we wander around, the whole thing's a drag, and I say, Stanley, let's take off, and he says, shut up.
Why?
Stanley's a man of few words, and those are two of them. Well, anyhow, everybody's saying to Stanley, let's go, but he's just standing there, staring at this thing that looks like a bathrobe.
A bathrobe?
Well, no, it ain't a bathrobe. It's one of those old Indian robes, and he's staring at it like he's hypnotized.
Yes.
So, Andy Seeley puts his hand on Stanley's arm and says, let's go. And Stanley pushes him away and says, you're the one who ruined my life, and on account of you, I'm a crook today.
Well, what did he mean by that?
Well, Stanley and Andy, they're partners. And they put together deals, and all I can say is they never lose money.
Then what?
Oh, I never seen Stanley so mad. Or Andy either. Each accused the other guy of dragging them down. You know what I mean? I don't know what got into either of them. And they started slugging. I mean, they'd have killed each other. Well, it took the museum guards and the cops.
I know. They were booked and then released on bond. What happened later?
These two crazy guys, these two nuts, they actually gave away all their money.
What?
Well, fortunately, I got some of Stanley's in my name. But they spent days in the office investigating worthy causes. And they just got rid of all they owned.
Could I see your husband?
Yeah, sure. If you want to go to India to look for him.
He went to India?
Well, was it India or Africa? I don't know. Might have been South America.
Why?
To do good work. Can you tie a thing like that? Any wonder I want to ditch him?
Well, thank you very much, Mrs. Howard.
Anytime. Now that you know the way, don't be a stranger.
Terry, try to think.
I can't remember nothing, Lieutenant.
You were looking at something.
I don't remember.
Were you looking at anything special?
I can't recall.
Were you looking at a robe?
A robe?
Yes, a robe.
Well, I think maybe...
Try to remember. A robe, Terry. Would a robe mean anything to you?
Well, she wanted me to go away from the robe. Yeah, that's what she wanted me to do.
Is that why you killed her?
She said, what's so fascinating about that little old thing? It's like some old lady's bathrobe. Ancient ceremonial robe. High priest of the wolf clan. And she wanted me to go away from the robe, and so...
Yes?
The robe told me to kill her.
How could a robe tell you to kill her?
Well, that's what it told me.
You mean the robe was able to speak?
No. It wasn't in words. It was a force inside of me. Please, Lieutenant, please. But right now I feel so weak, so tired, and I don't know what I'm saying. Please, let me alone.
What you're saying is crazy.
Okay, I killed her. Everybody saw me kill her. Now, I say that robe made me do it. You say it's crazy? Okay, it's crazy. Now let me alone.
What does science have to say on the subject? Science, in its wisdom, states that matter cannot be destroyed. Philosophers agree in principle because they claim that ideas cannot be killed. So if there was something in that ceremonial robe originally, who is to say it isn't there yet? It's been there for 1,000 years, and it will still be there in a few moments when I return with Act 3. All cities are built on the ruins of others. And so what we have is not something that is brand new, but usually is just another layer. And if we dig into the ground, we find the things of those people who have come and gone before our time. But we don't have to dig to find the ideas and the forces and the spirits that move them. Those can be felt everywhere, especially by men and women who are waiting and hoping for something to change the course of their lives. Detective Lieutenant George Miller has been involved with people like that lately. As a matter of fact, Lieutenant Miller is in the midst of a change in his own life. He may or may not be aware of it.
Excuse me.
Yes?
Are you Mr. Kenneth Underwood?
Yes.
I'm a police detective. I was told at your apartment that you could be found here in the park.
And now that you found me,
There was an incident at the museum.
a sudden aberration. Over and done with it.
Is that so? You were looking at that robe in the museum and you suddenly went, well, I don't like to say crazy.
Sir, I don't understand what you're saying.
No, I think you do. It's happened twice again since. What can you tell me about that robe?
Why is it important?
A man killed his wife. The state of his mind at the time will decide the price he'll pay.
I read about it. They'll say he was insane.
What about that robe?
It doesn't matter. Let us say that some spirit emanated from that robe, possessed him. It'll amount to being crazy anyhow.
Why do you say an evil spirit?
I said a spirit. You said evil.
Well, isn't it evil if it causes a man to kill?
The robe. The spirit of the robe said to me, Kenneth Underwood.
Then you are saying there is a spirit in the robe.
Said to me, Kenneth Underwood, the gods gave you the gift of poetry. You've abused it, defiled it, cheapened it. And I did. I thought I would die then and there. And the spirit said, will you throw off this illusion of fame and be true to your gift? And I said, yes. Yes. And a great weight was lifted from my heart because I meant it.
Do you expect me to believe this?
You asked me a question. I gave you an answer.
What kind of spirit?
Some days later, I returned to the museum. I examined the robe. There's a kind of design in it. I spoke to an authority on the ancient Indian cultures. He said it was the robe of the Wolf Clan's high priest.
That's what it says on the printed card.
The Wolf Clan. The clan responsible for the moral purity of the tribe. Each month on the third night before the full moon, every adult member of the tribe had to pass before the high priest. It's called the Night of the Wolf. And if in any heart there's hidden a guilty secret, that secret springs forth. And it either kills that person, or he must kill it. I killed mine, and so I survived.
Going along with this, how do you account for those other two incidents?
Pure coincidence. People happened to be standing next to the robe on that particular night. I read about them in the paper. The two men, they killed their guilty secret.
What about Terry Jessup?
The football player. He couldn't kill his. He couldn't leave his wife. In his agony, he murdered her.
Do you expect me to believe this?
That's your option. But a week from next Monday, it will once again be 3 nights before the full moon. If you have a guilty secret, Lieutenant, I wouldn't advise you to stand near that robe. Not on the night of the wolf.
Myra?
Georgie, I didn't expect you.
What do you mean you didn't expect me?
Well, honey, you usually don't get home for dinner most nights.
Well, I always call. Where are the kids?
Oh, well, you know, Tuesday's Jerry's night for the Cub Scouts. And Ginny's sleeping over at a friend's tonight. I didn't prepare anything.
That's okay. You want to go out and eat?
Well, no.
Okay, then let's just spend a quiet evening at home. We're entitled to it.
I don't know if I can, honey.
Why? What's the matter?
Well, you said I should get myself an interest. I did.
What do you mean?
I took a bowling.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yes, we have a neighborhood league here. And tonight's our night. Actually, I was just on my way out the door.
Oh, well, then why don't you just go ahead?
Oh, you see, Georgie, I'm captain of the team. It's an important game.
I understand.
Otherwise, I'd call it off.
No, sure.
Look, I will call them and say that something has come up.
No. I'm going to turn in early anyhow.
Oh, you sure you don't mind?
Honey, you go out there and roll a 300 game for the old man.
Oh, silly. I'll be home early.
A glass of wine, George?
No, I don't need wine or anything else when I'm with you.
Thank you, Seth.
Holly, what's going to happen to us?
What's supposed to happen?
I don't want it to end.
I don't want it to end either. So it won't end. Unless, of course, one of us changes his mind, and then, well, that's it. Something bothering you, George?
No. Well, every now and then I can't help feeling what we're doing is wrong.
What we're doing happens to be what we both want to be doing.
But people don't just have the right to do what they want to do.
Why not?
Why not? Well, because.
Yes? Because?
You know something? When I'm with you, I feel anything is possible. I mean, I'm not stuck in a rut. I just feel free.
Is that bad?
I don't know why. Half the time I don't understand what you're saying.
Half the time I don't understand what I'm saying either.
And you're not the best-looking dame I ever saw.
Oh, thank you. This is your night for gracious compliments.
But I just can't seem to get along without you.
So? Why fight?
Who's fighting it?
You are. Every minute. From that very first minute I saw you.
I just decided I'm going to quit fighting it.
Starting when?
Starting right now. I'll show you.
I believe you.
How much longer you want to fool around with the museum murder case?
That's why I want to see you, Prescott. I want you to take me off it.
You're off. As of right now. What happened?
Nothing. I don't want to go near that place again.
Meaning what?
Meaning what I said.
Does that include Miss Polly Atkins?
Miss Polly Atkins is my affair.
That's very well put.
Look, what have you got for me to work on?
What I've got for you is 1 week sick leave.
Sick leave?
You better take it.
Why?
You look terrible.
I never felt better in my life.
Don't hand me that, George. This thing with Polly it's killing you.
Are you out of your mind?
Down deep. You're hurting yourself. Badly. Because this thing, it's wrong.
Who says it's wrong?
Everything you were taught to believe since the day you were born says it's wrong.
That doesn't make it so.
It makes it so for you.
Don't you think I'm trying? I say I'll never see her again. But the next day...
Let's not get confused with any of that. It's just wrong. That's all.
It can't be. It seems that the two of us, Polly and me, we just belong together.
Well, then divorce Myra and marry Polly.
I can't.
Why not?
I don't know why not. Maybe I love Myra.
Then get rid of Polly.
No, I love Polly, too. Is it wrong to love both of them for different reasons, for different things?
Yeah.
Who says so?
You keep asking. I keep telling. You say so. Your conscience says so.
Okay. I'll ask someone else.
Who? Who?
Nobody you'd know.
Sure, but who is he?
A priest.
A priest? What do you think a priest is going to tell you?
This particular priest, I don't know what he's going to tell me.
Georgie, are you sure you're all right?
Yeah, Prescott, yeah. Just now, for the first time in weeks, I feel all right.
If you don't want to take the sick week, see me later for your assignment.
Sure. This is Lieutenant Miller of the police department. I want some weather information, please. What will be the third night this month before the full moon? I have to know exactly.
I can't imagine why you'd want to come here this evening, George.
Oh, I don't know. I just want to see the exhibit again.
Well, I'd think you'd seen all you wanted of it this past month.
Well, I never really looked at things before. Did you call Captain Prescott?
Yeah. Now, why do you want him to be here?
Did he say he'd come?
He should be here in a minute. Well, why do you want him?
I may need him.
For what?
Maybe for nothing. I hope for nothing.
Georgie! What's this all about?
Oh, Prescott, I'd like you to meet Miss Atkins.
Oh, we met on the phone.
How do you do? Now, Georgie, what do you want me to see?
I want to show you a robe.
A row?
Yes. Right there.
That moth-eaten looking thing? What's the point?
It belongs to the priest. The one I said I was going to see.
Miss Atkins, you know what Georgie is talking about?
The robe of the high priest of the Wolf Clan. George, you're pale. Something the matter?
Polly, do you believe with all your heart that you and I, we two, we're right?
I believe it, George. I believe it. But
Don't say any more. Prescott, have you got anything to hide? Anything on your conscience?
Everybody's got something on his conscience.
No, I'm talking about something wrong that's vital to your life.
Georgie, I don't like the way you look.
You don't feel a terrible pain in your head?
Georgie.
You don't feel a tightness? It's so tight in your chest.
I think we better call a doctor.
Your whole body's not on fire? On fire? Oh, then you're safe. It's me.
telephone for...
No, don't go. Don't.
George, all she wants to do
No, I won't give her up. I won't. I can't, no matter what you say. I won't give her up. I'll kill her first. I'll kill myself.
George, put that knife back.
It's the same knife that other man used.
George, I won't give her up. I love her.
Wait a minute.
No, I have to kill her. It's the order of the high priest.
George, drop it. Drop it.
I have to. Polly, I'm sorry.
Quick, call an ambulance.
No, don't bother. The high priest, he said, funny, he said, drive her out of your heart, even if it kills you. I drove you out of my heart, and now I have no heart at all.
Who knows who sentenced Lieutenant George Miller to death? A conscience, which everyone has? A sudden heart attack, which anyone can get? Or was it the verdict of the high priest of the ancient Wolf Clan? I'll be back shortly. It has been said, when a man lives with truth, there also will justice dwell. For the man of honesty and righteousness will determine the verdict for himself. He will be his own judge, his own jury, and if justice demands it, his own executioner. On this show, we deal in poetic justice every time, and we will have another case in point for you tomorrow. We hope you will continue to be interested. Our cast included Michael Tolan, Joan Shea, Evie Juster, Ken Harvey, and Russell Horton. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown.
This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. It is said, and truly said, that who plays with fire is sure to get burned. It is also said, and truly said, that as ye sow, so shall ye reap. Seems to me there's another one, too. Oh, yes, the mills of the gods grind slow, but grind exceeding fine. Those of us who, through living, learn the underlying truth in these proverbs, take care not to play with fire, to sow carefully, and to give as little grist as possible to those grinding mills. Not so Kay Wiley, devil-may-care, fun-loving Kay Wiley.
You're going to kill me.
Come on now, sweetie. What makes you think that?
What other reason would you have for luring me here?
Who lured you? You wanted to come? Wanted to be alone with me? Didn't you?
No, yes, I don't know.
I do, sweetie. Your trouble is you can't make up your mind. Well, let me make it up for you.
No. No!
Our mystery drama, Death on Skis, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by George Lothar and stars Rosemary Murphy and Larry Haynes. It is sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser, and Buick Motor Division. I'll be back shortly with Act One. There are certain immutable laws in this world of ours, and one of them is that we, all of us, must sooner or later pay the piper. A simple law, easy to understand, not too difficult to obey, really. And yet there are a good many who never seem to understand it, and rarely, if ever, obey it, until too late. Kay Wiley, wife of Dan Wiley the novelist, was one of these. Gay, irresponsible, fun gal Kay, who let the piper play on and on, till the day he presented his bill.
Well, what do you say, you two? Shall we ski back down to the inn?
The murder scene getting on your nerves, Dan?
And you a mystery writer?
A writer who has to get his latest manuscript off to his publisher in New York by tomorrow. Now, look, I said I'd take the time to show you both the scene of the murder, and I have. I've gone out of my way to ski way the hell and gone up to the top of the mountain to this hut where the two murders took place. Now, the least you can do...
The least you can do is stop acting like a husband and let me enjoy myself.
Well, for Pete's sake, what's to enjoy? A lonely, isolated hut on top of a mountain.
Where two women, not one, but two, and both of them blondes, like me, were slashed to death. One last year, one the year before last. Gives me goosebumps just being here. Delicious goosebumps. More thrill-making than even one of your novels, darling.
Well, now that you've had your thrill...
Well, let her finish her toddy, Dan.
Do me a favor, Tony. Stop interfering between Kay and me. After all, she is my wife, you know, though you seem to forget that often enough.
Meaning what, Dan?
Now, you know what I mean.
Well, I'm afraid I don't. You better explain that crack.
Oh, come on now. Let's not spoil.
Dan, let's you and me get something straight. I've enjoyed being with Kay ever since I met you two last week. Now, like you say, it's a working vacation for you, and you've been holed up in your room with that typewriter of yours most of the time.
While you and Kay
have howled around together and had a few laughs together. And that's all. Not that there couldn't have been more. Kay's very attractive and just the kind that turns me on, but we've just had one big laugh together, Dan, and that is all.
You know it is, darling.
Yes, of course I do, Kay. I
Skip it. Let's get back down to the inn.
Woohoo! Hey, it's turned real cold all of a sudden.
The sun's going down. Better take the south slope. It's shorter.
We'll go down the way we came up. It's safer.
Dan, I'm getting cold already. Oh, blast this book.
Here, sweetie, let me...
I'll do it.
Sure.
Dan, the south slope, it isn't really dangerous.
It's risky. It's too risky for you, darling. Even Hornbach warned you about it.
Stuffy old Norwegian.
Hornbach isn't stuffy, and he isn't old. Unless you call 42 old, he knows these mountains better than anyone, and he's one of the best pros around. So you listen to what he tells you. There you are. You're all set.
Last one back at the inn. buys the hot toddy.
Kay, I said not the South Slope.
Stop worrying, darling. I'll be okay.
I might have known. Tell her not to do something, and you can bet on her doing it.
There's no harm in it, Dad. She just likes to do her own thing.
Yes, and one day...
One day what?
She may do it once too often.
Dan? Dan?
Oh, Kay, please. I'm trying to finish this last chapter. Last 2 pages, in fact.
We're nearly an hour late for dinner already.
Well, you go on. Well, go ahead.
No, not after this afternoon.
What this afternoon?
Tony will see me alone at our table, and he'll come over.
Well, what if he
and...
does? Oh, I get it. Kay, I'm sorry. I know there's nothing between you and Tony.
You didn't sound that way up at the hut.
Yes, I know, but...
But what? Dan, we've been married nearly 3 years. I was 23, you were 38. I didn't think the difference in age mattered. You didn't either then. But now, is it beginning to?
I don't know, dear. Somehow I seem to get older while you get younger.
I'm not getting any younger.
Well, you certainly don't act any older. You're as reckless and as irresponsible as what's the word I want?
Spoiled? Childish? Will that do?
Yes, I guess so. Taking the South Slope this afternoon, for instance. Kay, you could have been killed.
But I wasn't. I was never more alive coming down that slope. To me, life is a dare, a risk. Unless you take the risks, you never really live.
Well, there's something in that. But you can't go too far, Kay. You did this afternoon. You did a year ago when I came here to finish my last Minerva Twine mystery and left you in New York.
So the horse didn't clear the jump.
Well, you didn't have to take that high a jump. You could have broken your neck instead of your collarbone. And what about the year before that? I came out here to finish another novel, and you...
I know, and I'd never parachuted before, and it is a new sport, Dan.
Yes, and when Sandy Dowling dared you to try it, you had to take the dare. Busted an ankle that time.
I guess from here on, you're saddled with bringing me along when you come here to finish a book.
Well, why do you think I brought you this time?
Oh, Dan, darling, am I more trouble than I'm worth?
Well, you're trouble, all right. But you're worth it.
No, be serious now. You've been coming here the last 2 years alone, so you could be alone and finish a book without any interruptions. Have I ruined that for you? Because if I have...
Don't be silly. It's been wonderful having you with me, Kay. And see, less than 2 pages to the end. I'll mail the finished manuscript off tomorrow, right on schedule. And then, sweetheart, the handsome Tony Shaw will have to find another playmate. Because I'll be your playmate from then on.
Oh, Dan, I love you so.
Well, just build that up into adoration, and we'll start even. Now, come on, dinner.
Indian Wells, Dan? All the way to Indian Wells just to mail a manuscript?
What do you mean, just to mail a manuscript? It's Dan Wiley's latest Minerva Twine mystery.
Yes, but the round trip to Indian Wells, it takes at least half a day. Why not mail it from the inn here?
Well, that's too chancy, Tony. Indian Wells is a good-sized town with a good-sized post office. And Otto Hornbach, come and join us for coffee.
No, I thank you.
Oh, come on, sit down.
I said no.
Well, what's happened to our jovial ski pro? Something soured you, Otto?
I know what soured him. You heard about me taking the South Slope this afternoon, didn't you, Otto?
After I warned you, you weren't ready for anything that steep yet? I suppose he put you up to it?
Tony?
Him and his practical jokes?
Oh, ye gods, Otto. That was 2 years ago. You still holding that against me?
It wasn't funny, and I don't forget easy, Tony.
Tony, what did you do to Otto?
Oh, he was giving me a lesson. I fell. Well, I pretended I busted my leg. Otto, you acted as if I'd broken my spine.
Accidents are no joke, not to me. I see too many. I do not like practical jokes, and Mrs. Wiley, I do not like people to ignore my warnings.
Otto, I'm sorry.
Sorry is not enough. I warned you, but you went ahead anyway, and you could have killed yourself, like Mrs. Horner killed herself last year, and Miss Yates the year before that.
Killed themselves. They were killed, Otto. They were murdered.
I say they killed themselves. I warned them. When you ski alone, I said to each of them, I said it. More than once I said it. When you ski alone by yourself, stay close to the inn. Do not go far off. So if you have an accident, no one will know till maybe too late.
The hut is far at the top of a mountain.
Yes, and if we have a sudden blizzard, almost impossible to reach. But they did not heed any warning. Like you, Mrs. Wiley. Sometimes I think all you young women are the same. Heedless, reckless, spoiled know-it-alls.
Hey, Otto, take it easy. You're talking to my wife.
The way you should talk to her, maybe.
Now, look, Otto.
All right, I'm sorry. I apologize. But I get upset when people ignore my warnings. Excuse me now.
Well, he's really ticked off at you, Kay.
At me, too. Oh, maybe I can't blame him. That practical joke of mine, I guess I went too far. Listen, you two, if you'll excuse me, I think I'll go and buy him a drink. Bury the hatchet.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
I'll see you.
Otto's right, you know, Kay. So do me a favor, will you?
You have but to command me, Master.
Now, seriously. I'll be gone all afternoon tomorrow, and I want you to stay close to the inn. Above all, don't go near that hut.
The scene of the crime? Or should I say crimes? Why not?
Just don't, that's all.
Dan, you do sound serious.
I am, very serious.
But why? Oh, I know. The murders. Those two gals hacked and slashed to death. They happened just about this time of year, didn't they?
Yes.
And you think another murder?
It's possible. They never caught the murderer, you know. He's still on the loose. Hey, listen to me for once. I have a theory about these murders. I'm probably wrong, but if I just happen to be right, another murder could take place up there in that hut. And it could take place tomorrow.
Tomorrow? What gives you that idea?
Never mind. Just do as I ask you, will you? Just stay close to the inn. And above all, stay away from that hut.
You sort of made me want to go up there now.
What? Oh, yes, of course. Warn you not to do something, and you're almost compelled to do it, aren't you?
Aha! Maybe that's why you warned me.
What?
So I will go. And who'll be waiting for me there with a big, sharp knife? But you.
Kay.
Well, didn't something like that happen in one of your mysteries? The one where the loving husband lured his wife into a trap and murdered her?
You know, Kay, you're something else. There's only one place I've ever wanted to lure you.
Where?
Well, you know where. Come on, finish your coffee. And fast.
Oh, boy. I hope Otto wasn't right last night.
Otto? Right about what?
Oh, about skiers getting caught up here on top of the mountain in a sudden blizzard. I'd say there's one coming from the look of those clouds out there and the force of the wind.
Not to worry. If it starts snowing, we'll start right back down.
On the south slope, no doubt.
No doubt. How about opening the thermos and letting me have a hot toddy? I can use it.
Oh, me too. Just being in this hut is enough to tell you.
Because a couple of murders were done here? That scares you?
Oh, I didn't say me. I said you.
It doesn't scare me.
Oh, maybe it ought to. Here, hot toddy.
Thanks. Why? Why ought it to scare me?
Well, you told me Dan warned you not to come up here to the hut while he was away. Right?
Right.
Because he thought another murder number 3, could take place today? Right?
Right.
Well, could be Dan knows something we don't know. Could be another woman, another blonde, is going to be slashed to death today.
Me?
You.
Oh, what have I got to worry about? I'm with you.
Precisely.
What?
I said precisely. You're here alone, far from the inn, in a hut that's been the scene of 2 murders, each at this time of the year. And you're here because a man you scarcely know, me, dared you to come.
As I said earlier, the piper must always be paid. I can't help wondering if Kay's piper isn't asking for payment now. Payment in full. I'll return shortly for Act 2.
Kay Wiley finds herself in what well may be a murderous situation, which is to say, she may be murdered in a matter of minutes or less. Ignoring the warning of her husband, mystery novelist Dan Wiley, she has blithely gone off with Tony Shaw, a man she scarcely knows, to an isolated mountain hut where 2 murders have already taken place. To judge from the look on Kay's face, Tony is speaking the truth when he says,
Let me give you a refill on that toddy, Kay. You look as if you could use it.
You're not the murderer.
How do you know?
Oh, come on now, Tony.
No, seriously. How do you know?
Really, Tony. If you expect me to fall for one of your silly practical jokes...
I'm not joking, Kay. This is for real.
Tony, you're going too far. A joke is a joke, but pulling a knife on me...
Pulling a knife? Me? Oh, no. Just showing it to you, Kay. You've seen it before. Always carry it with me. Comes in handy now and then. Like, when I used it to repair that strap on your ski boot the other day.
I remember, yes.
So, don't jump to conclusions about me pulling a knife on you. Though I could be, couldn't I?
Tony, if you don't stop this nonsense...
I could, couldn't I?
Yes, I guess you could, except...
Except what?
You'd be crazy. Kill me and you'd never get away with it.
No? Why not?
Well, they know. Back at the inn, they know I came up here with you.
They do?
Well, anyhow, that we went skiing together.
How do they know that? It's coming back to you now, isn't it?
You told me to go on ahead, that you'd meet me at the bottom of the trail. They don't know I'm up here with you. They don't even know we're together.
Exactly. So now you see the spot you could have put yourself in. You could be right now. Murdered. Slashed to ribbons. The way the other 2 were.
What? I don't understand.
I'm no murderer, Kay.
Then why have you pretended?
I haven't pretended anything. No practical joke either, if that's what you're thinking. All I've done is open your eyes to the spot you might have got yourself into through foolishness.
Foolishness?
All right, childishness, indifference to what serious consequences could result from your anything-for-a-thrill attitude.
Now you sound like Dan.
Oh?
Well, you know, he's forever warning me that sooner or later I'll take one dare too many.
And you could have this time.
Well, I didn't.
You may yet.
Look, Tony, enough is enough.
Now, let me tell you who I really am. I'm not the practical, joking ski bum I pretend to be. I'm a security officer.
Security officer?
Oh, kind of detective. In fact, I have my own agency back in San Francisco.
I don't understand.
Well, just listen to me and you will. Back 2 years ago, after the first murder took place, the inn management hired me to find the killer.
You? Why you? What about the local police?
Oh, the local cops are a laugh. It's just a sheriff and his deputy. The Indian Wells police came up with nothing. So they called me in. The management of the inn, I mean. And I'm afraid I blew it last season. The second murder was done right under my nose. But not this season, no. This time I'm just a few steps ahead of the killer. And that's where you come in.
And where exactly is that, Sherlock?
You're the bait.
Oh, no. Not little Kay Wiley.
Oh, yes. You're marked for death no matter where you are. Sooner or later, the man who murdered those 2 blondes in this hut is going to murder you.
You sound as if you know who he is.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Who?
Your husband, Dan Wiley.
Tony, you're crazy.
I wish I were.
Well, Dan's in Indian Wells. Right now in Indian Wells, mailing a... No?
No. I could be wrong. But if I'm right, he never went to Indian Wells.
Dan Wiley, what are you doing out here on skis? I thought you had gone to Indian Wells.
No, Otto,
But I saw you leave an hour ago. Drive off in your car.
I changed my mind. I was going to mail a manuscript to my publisher, but halfway to Indian Wells, would you believe it, Otto, I suddenly thought of a different ending. And a better one.
This means you have to sit and write a whole new end?
Yes, I'm afraid so.
Me, I would never be a writer. They work too hard.
You better believe it. Seen my wife, Otto?
She went off skiing not long after you left.
Oh, anybody with her?
No, she went by herself. And I tell you this, I warned her again to stay off the South Slope.
Well, you can save your breath, Otto.
I know. I'm telling you, lay down the law before it is too late. Show her who is boss, who wears the pants.
Oh, it's nothing like that. Kay isn't bossy. She doesn't try to wear the pants or anything like that. She's just young and exuberant. You can tell Kay not to do something, and you bet she'll do it.
Huh? Obstinate?
No, just, I don't know, more like a child. Do you know where she is right now?
I told you I don't know.
Oh, well, I'd be willing to bet she's up at the hut, the murder hut.
Why would you bet on that?
Because I told her not to go there while I was away in Indian Wells.
So you think she went?
I'm practically sure she did.
I will never understand women, never.
No, me neither. Well, I'll see you, Otto.
You going to meet your wife up at the hut?
No, I'm going to meet a typewriter in my room. So long.
So long. No, wait, Dan. Glad he didn't hear me, this wind. It's funny, though. If he knew she would go to the hut when he told her to stay away from it. It's funny.
Which is why he deliberately warned you to stay away from here.
So I'd come here? What kind of sense does that make?
Kay, you all right?
Yes. You've kind of knocked the breath out of me, Tony. I still can't believe... But you're right. Everything you've said is so true. In the few years we've been married, I never have got to know him, not really know him. He's married to that typewriter of his more than to me. And yes, he did come here last year and the year before, without me. Said he had to be alone to finish a novel.
But this time he brought you along. Why? Did you insist?
No, I'd never think of interfering with his work. No, he asked me to come. And when I said maybe it would be better if I didn't, he insisted.
Figures.
But I just can't believe...
If I'm right, if Dan is the murderer, he'll show up here in a few minutes. And I don't want to be here when he does.
All right, then, let's go. But, Tony, I just can't believe this of Dan, and I'm not going to. As I said, I haven't got to know him as well as I'd like, but good Lord, you can't be married to a man for nearly 3 years without knowing that he isn't a killer. And that's one thing Dan is not. I'd stake my life on it.
That's exactly what you're going to do.
What do you mean?
I'm leaving, but you're staying here.
Tony!
He didn't go to Indian Wells. I'm positive he didn't. He knows you're here because he made a point of warning you not to come here. Now, look. You've got nothing to worry about. I won't be far, just up in that stand of cottonwoods. He won't see me, but I'll see him when he arrives.
And then what?
When he makes his move, I'll make mine. I'll be right outside that door when he makes it.
What you're saying is when he attacks me with a knife...
Exactly.
Tony, I can't go through with this.
You've got to if you want to help me catch him.
I don't want to help you catch him. I mean... Oh, I don't know what I mean. He's my husband. I love him. I can't believe he's a murderer.
Well, then you've got nothing to fear, have you? If I'm wrong and you're right, nothing will happen. Not a thing.
But if it's the other way around...
Well, then I think this time you'll get a thrill to end all thrills.
I can't believe this is happening.
Believe me, it is. Okay, I'm off.
No, Tony, please, no.
Come on now, Kay.
I can't do this. I'm scared to death, Tony.
If you don't believe Dan's the killer...
I'd be a fool not to realize the things you've said are true. Tony, don't leave me, please, please.
Well, I guess I had you taped all wrong.
What do you mean?
Kay Wiley, who dare anything. Kay Wiley, who parachuted from a plane on a dare, jumped a horse over the highest hurdle. Oh, yes, I heard all about that. I saw you make the South Slope on skis yesterday.
Yes, I've taken some dares again and again because...
Yes, because what?
Because I was afraid.
Afraid?
Petrified. Tony, I'm the worst coward in the world. The daring Kay Wiley is a mask, a front. I forced myself to take dares just so I could prove to myself that I'm not a coward. But underneath, I am. And, Tony, this is one dare I can't take.
I promise you, I'll be right outside waiting. If you don't take the dare, if you refuse to stay here and face him, you'll never know, will you?
No.
Whether he's a murderer or isn't. Oh, damn.
What is it?
There's somebody coming up the trail.
Dan?
I can't tell. Snow blurs everything. But it's got to be him. Now, look, will you stay? You've got no choice. You've got to find out. You've got to have the nerve to find out. All right, I'll see you.
Tony! Oh, no. Dan.
Hello, Kay.
We can well imagine Kay's feelings as Dan Wiley enters the hut, proving Tony right. A curious situation. A woman facing the man she loves, her husband, not sure if he's a murderer. Certainly looks as if he is. And yet, well, we'll learn more when I return for Act 3. What would you do? How would you feel? Your husband, the man you love, stands before you, and for all you know, has come to kill you. Indeed, cleverly lured you into a trap. Surely you'd be torn with uncertainty, caught between love and fear, and underneath these emotions would writhe despair. For if he is your killer, this man you love, you'd just as soon be anyway.
I thought I'd find you here, Kay.
I know.
You know?
I'm not totally naive, Dan. You knew when you warned me not to come that I would.
Why the devil would I figure you would come when I begged you not to?
Because I'm like the victim in your last novel, Death is a Blonde. You based that character on me, didn't you? I was the model for her.
Okay, so what of it?
Her husband knew she had a contradictory streak in her. I even remember the words you used to describe her. Contrary, as wayward as a child. And he used it to lure her to her death.
Kay, things like that happen in novels, not real life. So you're not implying that I lured you here to kill you? Is that what you're saying?
You said you were going to Indian Wells. What are you doing here?
Well, to be honest about it, I had no intention of going to Indian Wells. I told you that, and I spread the story around the inn to throw the murderer off my track.
Throw the...
Yes. I have a feeling he knows I suspect him. But I also know he strikes when the moon turns full. Kay, I'm all but sure he's a homicidal maniac who has to kill. He can't help himself, you see, when the moon turns full this month of the year.
You've got to be out of your mind. Maniacs who have to kill because of a full moon? That only happens in novels.
Oh, no. In real life, Kay. You see, the full moon has a powerful effect on people, on the world, if it comes to that.
Right now, it's only 3 p.m. There isn't any moon at all.
Kay, sweetheart, you can't see it, but it's there. And according to the lunar tables, it turned full about 5 minutes ago. That's why I didn't want you to come here this afternoon. Now, coming here, you set yourself up for the kill, played right into the murderer's hands.
What if I hadn't ignored your warning, hadn't come here?
Well, he'd have tried to lure you here. You or some other blonde at the inn.
Blonde?
Yes, both previous victims have been blondes. And I'm sure the third will be, too.
You seem awfully sure.
Yes, I am. I'm very sure. And the way you're looking at me... Kay, you do think I'm the killer, don't you?
No,
Yes,
no,
you do. I can see it in your eyes. You're afraid of me. Good Lord, Kay, how can you be? After nearly 3 years of marriage, 3 years of living with me, how can you be? And don't pull away.
I don't know you. That's the trouble. I don't know you at all.
What in blazes are you saying?
Don't. Please, don't come near me. I am afraid of you. I don't want to be. It almost makes me ashamed because I love you and I want to trust you and should trust you, but...
But you don't. Why not? Have I ever given you reason to distrust me?
Why did you come here alone last year and the year before?
Well, you know why.
I know what you told me. That it was always a habit of yours before we were married. A habit to go off by yourself to finish a novel.
Well, it is.
Then why did you bring me along this time?
Because you begged me to let you come along, and I finally gave in. What other reason would... Oh, wait a minute. Now I begin to see why you think... Yes, of course, that's it. I was here last year when the second murder took place, and the year before that when the first blonde got it.
It isn't that, not that alone.
Then what?
I just don't know you. All day long, for 3 years, all day long, you've been in your office.
Working.
And half the night.
I can't stop when it's going good.
I know that, but it's kept us apart, keeps us apart, and that's why I don't know you. And don't know what I've been told is true or not. Whether you didn't go to Indian Wells for the reason you said, or another reason. What is it?
You said, I don't know if what I've been told is true or not. Told what? By whom? Did you ever come here with someone? Otto Hornbach. Yes, I talked to him half an hour ago. He said you'd gone off on your own.
Yes, I did.
What, did you meet anyone on your way up here?
Oh, I know.
Hey, this is serious.
Stan, you're hurting me.
Then answer me. Did you meet someone? Did you come here with someone else?
Yes.
Tony Shaw. It wasn't Tony.
Yes.
Where is he now?
You've got a gun.
I'd be a fool to go hunting a killer without one. Now, where is he?
Right behind you. Don't move. There's a gun in your back. Drop yours now. All right, pick it up, Kay. Don't do it there. Don't turn. All right, let me have it, Kay. Thank you. Now you can turn around, Dan.
A knife?
The end of the handle stuck in your back. You fell for one of the oldest tricks in the book, and you were a mystery story writer.
Well, at least I was right about you.
Right about me?
Look, I'll make a deal with you, Tony. Let Kay go. Kill me instead.
Tony? Tony's the murderer?
Oh, he's trying to pull the wool over your eyes, sweetie.
You're no ski bum, Tony. You've been acting a part, and you're a lousy actor.
He's the security officer at the inn, he says.
Yes, a security officer who carries a knife, huh? Now, I'll tell one.
Slashed to death. Those women, both slashed.
Now, don't get all psyched up. The knife's a tool, not a weapon. I've never needed a gun.
Well, you seem to need one now.
Precaution, that's all. I can handle you with both hands tied behind my back. Judo black belt.
Oh, really? Then suppose we just find out. Drop that gun. I'll break your arm. Drop it. Get it, Kay.
I got it.
All right. I'm sorry, Tony. I'll take the gun now, Kay. Kay?
No.
What?
I don't know which of you to trust now. I'm sorry, Dan.
So am I, honey. I don't blame you. Everything you said, you were right. Maybe you just should have said it sooner.
We're always too busy.
Yes, I guess I was.
Hello, the heart.
Otto Hornbach. Oh, thank God. Otto.
What is this?
Take this. Take it.
A gun?
Just holding it scares me. Take it.
All right. Come inside. What is going on here?
I don't know. I'm so confused.
Tony.
Mixed up.
Dan, what has happened? Well, to give it to you straight, Otto, I've got reason to think Tony Shaw is the man who murdered 2 women in this hut and was bent on murdering a third. Kay.
Now, he's a liar, Otto. He's the killer, not me.
How could that be?
For one thing, he pretended he was going to Indian Wells today.
Oh, I know that. Like I also know you are not a guest here. You are a detective.
You know that? How?
Why, look at the files in the office. I see you are on the payroll, and why? And as for you, Dan, last year and the year before, you mailed your manuscript from the inn, but this year, for no good reason, you have to go to Indian Wells. That story you told me about another ending to your novel. Oh, I'm not a fool, Dan. I wasn't born yesterday. As for either one of you being the murderer, you can't be. I am.
You?
Me. And you, my next victim. almost from the first day you came, my next victim.
Why?
Because you are like she was, my Helga. Oh, she put me through a hell on earth. She must have her way, not mine. Do always what she wanted, not what I wanted. She came first, me second. I didn't matter.
Otto, Kay isn't like
They
that.
all are. Her kind. They're always, they are always small and blonde. Helpless, dependent, in need of your strength. At first you're taken in, poor little thing, so helpless, so dependent on you, so in need of your strength, your masculine strength, so you give it a little here, a little there, and gradually, so gradually, you don't know it's happening. You give her all your strength, and there's none left for you. You are caught. You are trapped in a web you thought was made of love, but is really made of what? Of ego. That's what they call it. Ego. The I of I am this, and I want that, and nobody matters but me.
Leave him alone. Let him talk it out.
You are Helga.
Me?
Oh, not just you. At the inn, there are Helgas all the time. At least 3 or 4 each season. Spoiled, determined, pampered, coddled by fools. The husbands they are destroying, as Helga destroyed me. Me. Or nearly did. I woke up in time and destroyed her.
With a knife, Otto?
It was handy in the kitchen and happened. And I loved her. Even when I was killing her and driving the knife home again and again. I loved her. Isn't that strange? You see? So now I must kill you, like Mrs. Horner last year and Miss Yates the year before that. Kill you. You see, to save him.
Otto, I don't need saving.
Dan, you can't handle this. Neither can Tony. Only a woman can handle this, if it can be handled.
You see, you hear what she says. Only a woman can handle it. Oh, spoiled rotten.
No, Otto, scared rotten. The way Helga was, and Mrs. Horner, and Miss Yates.
Scared? Mrs. Horner, Miss Yates? You?
And Helga.
Oh, no, that is not so. She had me trapped.
Because she was afraid of what would happen if she didn't trap you. Otto, she trapped you because she loved you and was afraid she might lose you.
Lose me? To who lose me?
Another woman.
Another? But, there were no other women.
There are always other women.
Which of you first?
Otto,
I'm sorry, but you must die before I kill her. Not witnesses. I cannot have witnesses.
For God's sake, Otto, didn't you hear what Kay said? She just told you a simple truth, a simple, womanly truth. A woman traps a man because she loves him, and she's scared to death of losing him.
She lies. Like all women, she lies. All right, which one first, huh? Tony? Dan?
Me.
Hey, what in blazes is he
I'm
doing?
between you now. Between him and you. You'll have to shoot me first. When he does, jump him.
And I thought you said you had no nerve.
Get out of the way.
Kay, please.
Jump him when he fires. Well, go on, Otto. Shoot.
Get out of the way. You, I must kill with the knife.
Sorry. Change of plan. A gun this time, Otto. A gun or nothing. Give it to me. Or shoot.
Another step. One more and I kill you.
You're going to kill me anyhow, so what have I got to lose? Give me that gun.
No, wait.
What?
Kay, it works both ways. Now get out of his way. Let him shoot us first. That'll give you a second or two to get out that door.
And leave you here? Do you think I'd want to go on living out of the gun?
You mean it? You mean what you say?
Of course I mean it. Why else would I...
But I don't understand. You would give your life to save His? No. Oh, no. This is not possible. Women are... Oh, no, they are selfish. They come first. Always they come first. All of them.
Not all, Otto. Not every woman is like your Helga must have been.
I was wrong about Miss Yates, Mrs. Horner.
I don't know about them, but you're certainly wrong about me.
Wrong. Oh, no.
Oh, my God.
Kay?
I'm all right. Better see to him.
Oh, crazy. Shot himself.
Dan, is he...
No, he's breathing. And we've better get him down to the inn fast.
I'll give you a hand.
Kay, sweetheart. You saved our lives. Believe me, from here on, you can take all the dares you want, and I won't say a word.
You won't have to, Dan. There aren't going to be any more. I just took my last.
Luckily, though, Kay Wiley paid the piper, as must we all. The price was not exorbitant. Her life. You ask me, she got off easily. How about you? You building up a debt you'll have to settle one day with your piper? Better do a little thinking about that. Better do a little thinking myself. I'll be back shortly. Otto Hornback, you'll want to know, lives comfortably today in a rest home. Tony Shaw is back in San Francisco. As for Dan and Kay Wiley, well, Kay doesn't take any dares anymore. She's much too busy bringing up the twins. Dan continues to be a very successful writer of mysteries. Incidentally, you needn't bother to buy his latest Minerva Twine mystery. You just heard it dramatized. Our cast included Rosemary Harris, Larry Haynes, Ralph Bell, and Norman Rose. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Scorpio, this is a bad day for you. Your sudden death is imminent. Be sure to put all your affairs in order. You cannot escape the inevitability of the stars. It is a hard prediction to face, but it can only be justified out of what you've done to deserve it. Are they out of their minds? That shaky little mouse, Ethel, writing a bomb like this. She'll have scared 25,000 people out of their wits. This is Amanda Amherst. Put me through to the managing editor. Oh, come on. Adam, it's Amanda. I want the presses stopped. Hold all deliveries and do everything you can to get our first run off the stands. Why? Just read Ethel Nixon's column for today and you'll see. I'm on my way down there now, and when I find out what's going on, heads are going to roll, and brother, none of them will be mine.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, Brewers of Budweiser. E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams. CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Do you believe in predestination? Are you convinced, as many people are, that the real science of the stars is not astronomy, but astrology? And even if you are not wholly persuaded, do you find that you turn by habit to glance at the daily horoscope in your favorite newspaper? Just supposing, that like Amanda Amherst, sole owner of a chain of newspapers from coast to coast, left to her by her famous husband, that you turned to Ethel Nixon's astrological column for the day and read the following.
Scorpio, this is a bad day for you. Your sudden death is imminent. Be sure to put all your affairs in order. You cannot escape the inevitability of the stars. It is a hard prediction to face, but it can only be justified out of what you've done to deserve it. Are they out of their minds? That shaky little mouse, Ethel, writing a bomb like this. She'll have scared 25,000 people out of their wits, or made us a laughing stock. This is Amanda Amherst. Put me through to the managing editor. Oh, come on. Adam, it's Amanda. I want the presses stopped. Hold all deliveries and do everything you can to get our first run off the stands. Why? Just read Ethel Nixon's column for today and you'll see. I'm on my way down there now, and when I find out what's going on, heads are going to roll, and brother, none of them will be mine.
Our mystery drama, Death in the Stars, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Ian Martin and stars Kim Hunter. It is sponsored in part by Buick Motor Division and Contact, the 12-hour cold capsule. I'll be back shortly with Act One. Amanda Amherst. Before her marriage to Ralph Amherst, Amanda Hale, the country's most beautiful model. A reigning beauty then. A reigning beauty now. A woman who defies the encroachment of age. A woman who controls an empire and everyone under her sway. Who wears a velvet glove so that few are conscious of the iron hand. Amanda Amherst, the grieving widow who has never remarried. Complex, adorable, kind, generous, difficult, and evil. A woman perhaps only her daughter, timid, retiring Nancy, knows completely.
I've hated my mother ever since I was 7. For 13 years I have wanted her, but I've been scared of her too. So all I could do was fantasize. I'll never forget the morning the famous horoscope turned up. Not that I ever saw it with my own eyes. Actually, I didn't know what the fuss was all about. I was just scared because of my own clumsiness and thanking my lucky stars I'd had time enough not to get my head beat in. The way things were between Mother and me by that point, I just couldn't have taken it. I just slipped back into the apartment in time as it was because she was screaming for me. Nancy! Nancy! Yes, Mother? Did you see my copy of the Post-Journal? Oh, you have it. Well, I just wanted to glance at the headline. Give it to me. Did you also check Ethel Nixon's predictions? Oh, you know I don't believe in that stuff. No, I didn't. Well, why? That mousy little nobody presented me with a real shocker under my astrological sign this morning. The gist of it was that I'm marked for death at any moment. What? Oh, you don't believe that, Mother? Oh, of course I don't. I think it's someone's idea of a macabre joke. I might have thought you were the culprit, except as much as you despise and hate me, you haven't the temperament or the know-how. I'm not so sure of your boyfriend, Adam, however.
He's not my boyfriend anymore. You took care of that.
Look, I don't intend to quarrel with you. I have enough to do to pin down who this practical joker is who's going to bring a sizable portion of our circulation down about our ears.
What do you mean?
Nancy, naturally I was not named specifically. It just said that anyone born under the sign of Scorpio was marked for imminent death. It'll be the laughing stock of the trade. Lord knows what suits, letters, threats will follow. I've got to get down there right away. I just can't believe Ethel is responsible for this. And once I satisfy myself of that, I'll find the real culprit. And whoever it is had better be warned. I'm going to crush them like a bug under my heel.
That is my mother as she really is. A side very few people see. And when they do, she is a master, or should I say mistress, of covering up. Oh, she did it with me about my father. Even though I heard what I heard with my own ears. But a 7-year-old, half-drugged in her early morning sleep, is easily persuaded she didn't really hear. Amanda, when she sets herself to it, can make purple seem green or orange blue. Even though I remember every word, she twisted them to mean something else. This is what I thought I heard. Even after 13 years, the words just won't go away.
And how anyone as beautiful and vibrantly alive as you are outside can be as cold and heartless inside, Amanda.
No, never again. Look, I tried to satisfy you once. I'm sorry it turned out to be a girl. I'm sorry I gave you Nancy. Heaven knows I didn't want her, and neither did you, Ralph.
That is not true.
Of course it is. A boy's all you wanted. The male succession must be preserved to keep the empire alive. Well, if you want a son, go find some other wife to produce him for you.
You don't mean that.
Oh, don't I? I'm not ruining my figure again for anything.
Well, how could you even suggest the possibility of divorce between
my
us?
dear Ralph, who even mentioned divorce?
Well, I don't want an illegitimate son.
Well, if you handle it right, and if it matters in this day and age, who has to know?
You just sit by quietly and see me have an affair with some other woman. You'd condone that?
Well, why not? Doesn't have to be done in front of me. You'd pay her enough, and I'd never have to know.
You wouldn't be jealous? You wouldn't even care?
Oh, come on. We're not children. If you're squeamish about it, you could arrange it with test tubes or however you do it. Doesn't matter to me. I'm only trying to give you what you want.
What I want from you is love and understanding.
Well, you have that.
I thought I had. Now I see how mistaken I was.
But you're not mistaken. I love you very much.
Oh, Amanda, you love me for my money, my position.
And your power, yes. That I love most of all.
But not me.
Ralph, I'm tired. I want to get my sleep.
Oh, your beauty sleep, of course.
You don't want me to remain beautiful and young for you?
Amanda, you will always, forever, and as long as I live, remain the most beautiful woman in the world for me.
Oh, don't you believe it? Beauty is natural only a short while, and then it becomes art. No, artifice.
I don't suppose you're going to understand what I have to say. But up until a very short time ago, I thought I was a man with everything.
You are, dearest.
I am a man with nothing, Amanda.
What does that mean? Just because I won't go through another 9 months of being sick and ugly on the chance I'll provide you with a male offspring.
If you loved me, you would.
Bearing children has nothing to do with love.
If you loved me, it could have. If you want the child, our child.
I don't need your image, Ralph. I have you.
Oh, as long as I live, you'll always have me.
Now, what does that peculiar tone of voice and tragic inflection mean to suggest?
That you don't love me. And I see now that you never really did.
Oh, don't be ridiculous.
Oh, no. No. I don't intend to be anymore.
I lay there shivering in bed. I loved my father so much. And I didn't see how Mother, whom I loved just as much, could hurt him like that. And then suddenly I was crying until I couldn't stop, just bawling like a baby, until Mother was there holding me in her arms and soothing me and washing away the hurt, I thought. Except that all she was saying was lies. My baby. You just didn't understand. Why should you, a little 7-year-old? Don't you know I'd do anything for your father? That I love him just as much as you. But you see, look, it's hard to explain, dear. You're my one baby, and you're all I want. Don't you ever think that I don't. And you never, I tell you, you never heard me say anything else.
I had found when I wanted to think deeply, flying a plane gave me enough aloneness to find out whose perspective was right or wrong. I suppose being brought up as William Mammoth's son spoiled life for me by giving me everything on a silver platter. Then when I took over the colossus of newspapers, radio and TV stations, the apartments in Paris and London, the townhouse in New York, and the great mansion on the Monterey Peninsula, the endless bank accounts, I never had to want for anything. Amanda Blake came along. Then she mattered more to me than anything in life. Until the other thing came up. The son. An heir. For once it seemed I was on the losing side.
Yes?
Oh, hello. Is Mr. Amherst there?
No, he's not. How did you get this number? It's unlisted.
I sort of work for him. I mean, is this Mrs. Amherst?
Yes.
Oh, gee, I hope I didn't wake you up.
Oh, no, of course not. I'm always awake and at my best at 6:15 a.m. Who is this?
Oh, well, this is Ethel Nixon, the astrologer, you know.
The what?
The voice of your tomorrow. It's my column, syndicated in your husband's newspapers, you know. And I've simply got to speak to Mr. Amherst. I mean, your husband.
Well, I suppose I can take a message for him.
Can you get it to him quickly? Just beg him not to take any airplane flights in the next 2 days.
Well, I don't think he's planned to. But why?
It would be so complex to explain. He's a Taurus, as I'm sure you know, and a frightening set of coincidences are arising through his ruling house and the ascendancy of his particular star. Oh, dear, it's much too complicated to explain, but he's in terrible danger. That's why I called.
In danger? From what? I don't understand.
Well, of course, it would be difficult for you, but it is absolutely vital for him not to move out of his own element. Certainly, of all things, not to be in the air or fly.
Well, why not?
Because it has been revealed to me that it can be disaster for him.
I was shaken to the core by Ralph's death for many reasons. Not the least of which was his brother Joseph's reaction.
I want to cry out and ask for a God with some justice.
Oh, stop being melodramatic, Joe. That's not going to help anything.
Oh, you can sit calmly by. You have nothing to worry about.
For God's sake, I just lost my husband.
Sure, and gained an empire. I can't believe it. My own brother, and he left you everything.
That isn't true. You still have your editor's job on the Journal World and a tax-free income that should more than keep you in liquor and women. To name a spade a spade.
You criticize my lifestyle? What about you? You're worse. At least they give satisfaction in return for the money. I swear Ralph died because of you.
Oh, you're drunk. I don't know what you're saying.
Well, I'm drunk enough to say what I have to say. You killed Ralph. You're his murderer.
That's a contemptible thing to say. The man I
All
loved...
you ever loved was what he represented, and you wanted it all for yourself, and now you've got it.
Look, Ralph died in a plane accident.
All right. But there was nothing wrong with that plane. You betrayed him somehow, some way. I don't know how. There's only one way my brother could have died on his plane. Either somebody booby-trapped it or he crashed it deliberately. He wanted to die.
Get out of my house. He destroyed me for a little. That drunken, weakling brother, Joe. To dare to talk about Ralph and me like that. But he disappeared to Europe and out of my mind. What had shaken me most about Ralph's death was Ethel Nixon. How could she have known about Ralph before he... How could she have known? That's why 13 years later, today, reading her prediction in my own newspaper, I could feel the shadow of death across my path. I was conditioned to believe that my doom had been sealed. Unless... some way, somehow, it was only someone's idea of a joke.
Is there an escape for Amanda Amherst? Is her fate sealed already? Do the stars, wheeling in the heavens, fixed for that infinitesimal moment in time when we, as infants, first cry out that we are alive and born, control another fleeting moment of conjunction which brings us death? I'll return shortly with that, too. For 13 years, Mrs. Ralph Amherst has been one of the great legends of her time. After her husband's death, Amanda has ruled with an iron hand the empire willed to her, and miraculously, at least in appearance, kept her youth and her radiant beauty. She has been supremely secure in her power, until shortly before the stunning public announcement in her own key paper that her days were numbered. But who or what was responsible for it? How did it appear?
Oh, but you couldn't. You surely couldn't believe for 1 minute, Mrs. Amherst, that I would ever reveal such a terrible prediction about anyone. Particularly about you, even if it were true.
You did once about my husband, Miss Nixon. And that was true.
But that was different. In the first place, I had read it in his horoscope.
You haven't read it in mine?
Well, look, I'll show you. I can show you a copy of today's paper. Just 2 pages after the editorial. Yeah, see? You can read it for yourself.
Let me see. Scorpio, today may be a disturbing day, but keep your head and be of good heart. Keep family affairs in order, check your impulse to emotion, and all will turn out well. Financially, you will benefit greatly.
Oh, you see?
This is a city edition. Have a look at mine, the early one.
Is this the one you read over the phone?
Yes.
It just seems impossible. What?
You see? No wonder you gasp.
But this is the same as you just read. What I wrote to be published.
What? Give me that. But you're right. Someone's up to jokes and games around here, and when I find out who...
Well, now, maybe you were, half asleep, and it was sort of a dream.
Look, wait a minute. This isn't my paper. The one I read this morning.
How do you know?
Ethel, try not to be any more of a pinbrain than you are.
My copy is rushed to me as publisher, delivered by hand the moment it's off the press.
Well, then how?
I don't know. But I have a couple of ideas. Starting with my not-so-loving daughter, Nancy. I'd better get home and see her right away. I just want to know what you're up to, Nancy. What you're trying to prove.
I'm not trying to prove anything, Mother.
You admit you switched newspapers on me this morning.
I didn't switch them. I told you what happened.
Oh, a nice little cock and bull story about spilling coffee and cream over the paper and dumping it into the garbage and tearing downstairs to the drugstore to get a fresh copy. Oh, really? You can do better than that.
But it's the truth.
Why all the fuss about a little coffee spilled on the morning newspaper?
Look, I knew the paper was important to you somehow. I could hear you screaming in the study about something wrong, and you were coming right in to straighten it up, and Well, one edition of a paper is just like another one, isn't it? Except when someone like me is shaky and stupid enough to get it all gummed up with coffee, I just couldn't stand having you on me again, Mother. Not these days.
On you?
Oh, you know what I mean. I'm so strung out, I just hoped I could avoid any kind of another run-in with you.
Strung out? Look, are you and Adam up to some crazy scheme to... What shall I say? To get back at me for what wasn't my fault?
You can be well sure that Adam and I are not up to anything. You successfully squashed that.
Did you two somehow gimmick that slug in the astrology column this morning?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't lie to me. I want to know if you two have cooked up some scheme to drive me crazy. That was a special paper this morning, and that horoscope was only for me. How did you manage it?
I think you are crazy. What do I know how newspapers are made?
Well, the man you tried to steal from me does.
You mean the man you spoiled for me? The one I loved? Oh, no, Adam may take his women as they come and they go, but he wouldn't go in for any cheap, scare stuff.
As managing editor, he's the only one who has the power and the ability and the access to do it.
Or one other person.
Who?
God. Have you thought about him? Don't you think that someday he's going to punish you for what you did to my father? I was sorry the moment the words were out of my mouth. Looking at Amanda's face suddenly grow gray and old. And then I wasn't sorry. And quickly it was serene and beautiful again. And I remembered what I had lost and how she had taken him away from me. Oh, and then it was easy to hate again.
A terrible thing to look into a daughter's eyes. And know that hidden behind the blank, polite stare is the dagger stroke of hate. If I deserved it, I might be able to accept it somehow. But since she's been 7 years old, I've been mother and father to this child. In my own way. And then to have her turn on me and steal... I was never a woman who could live without men. But I never had to depend on them until the day I met Adam Brock. I don't know, it was at someone's place at the beach on a weekend. On a weekend I was able to go out again. Dr. Anton Driscoll had performed his third miracle on me. Bronzed and sun-greased, I knew, even to my own critical eye, that I looked at least 15 years below my own age. I was sure of it when Adam dropped down on the sand beside me.
Hello, whoever you are.
Likewise, whoever you are.
Adam Brock. Look, if I tell you what I do, will you sneer or find I'm beneath your notice?
Well, you're dealing and I'm lying down. You can't be beneath my notice. Why don't you give it a try?
Well, I'm a newspaper man. I write. And you?
Oh, just a deck cook for the weekend.
Our host likes an attractive layout.
Yeah, look, I really don't like smart talk. I'll level. You are magnificent. Any man would make a pass at you. I'm not so special. May I?
What sort of pass?
The simplest and most honest. Dinner? Dancing, maybe? I have a small boat. We could sail. By daylight. I'm here for 2 weeks vacation. How much of it will you let me spend with you?
I don't know. Let's start with a sail tomorrow morning and see how far that takes us. Well, it took us pretty far. By the time we tied up at the dock, Adam was in love with what he thought I was. I was in love with a man I should have met when I was young enough for him. And I didn't want to lose him yet, so I used my maiden name. And I pulled strings behind the scenes to get him an editorship at the Post-Journal. I also made sure that anyone who knew anything about our relationship kept his mouth tightly shut about how, why, or who his sponsor was. Our affair continued in New York until Nancy took it into her head to take literal French leave from Paris and the Sorbonne.
Hello, this is Mr. Brock. No, my secretary's out for the moment. I'm picking up. Huh? What? Her daughter? Oh, well, sure. Send her in. Or should I come out and get her? Oh, she's on her way in already. Okay. No, it's fine. I get along with kids fine. I guess I can handle this one. What's her name? Oh, I guess she's here. Come in. Well, Nancy? I didn't expect a little girl like you to come and visit me.
Oh, you're the new managing editor of the Post-Journal.
Yeah. I guess I am. And you're Amanda's daughter?
That's right, all me.
It's a pretty nice all.
I'm not that good. I mean, I don't buzz these vibrations right off the bat, normally.
Me either. You'd be surprised how surprised I am.
You wouldn't know about me, I guess.
You are Amanda's daughter?
If you mean, did I spring from her womb? Yes. Oh, is Mother around?
No, she's on business in Chicago. Where did you turn up from?
Oh, I just got in from Paris, and I'm flat broke and I'm hungry.
Well, I can take care of the last one. It's lunchtime anyway. Let's go to Cheerios. I'll feed you. Feel better?
Oh, I feel... Oh, I hate to tell you how good I feel. You fed me all right.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, the food was great. But that doesn't matter. I mean, the line you fed me. I just hope you meant it.
I didn't think I was feeding you a lie.
Oh, if you could have searched through Bartlett's for the perfect quotes, you had them, Adam. And then after knowing you all this long, why should I expect less? By the time we got to this morning, I was his forever. He was the first thing that ever happened to me since dim childhood memories that gave me a lust for life. I was in love. I knew just what I wanted. And the best part of it was I could feel he felt the same. Well, it didn't take Mother long to clobber me. And since I foot the bills, I think I at least deserve some notice when you decide to run out on your responsibilities. Mother, I had Europe up to here. I wanted home. All right. So I let you dump Europe. And I gave you back your green pastures. All I ask is you to stay out of mine. Maybe I'm dumb, Mother, but I'll spell it out. Just leave any mail I have staked out alone. What? You heard me. Lay off Adam. Adam? But he's young enough to... Never mind his age. He's what I want. Adam's been mine for months, Nancy. What shall I say? Escort. Day and night. Bought and paid for.
You want to buy used merchandise, Nancy? Particularly one of my second-hand lovers. I knew Adam wasn't mine anymore. My daughter had stolen him from me with the one weapon I didn't possess. Her youth. But if I couldn't have him, she couldn't. Nobody could.
A strange and torturous story about a strange and tortuous woman. What is her true fate? Is she at last caught in her own web, her past catching up with her to doom her as inexorably as she has sealed the fate of others? There is still more of the past to come when I return shortly with Act 3. Amanda Amherst, seemingly ageless, wielder of a kind of total power over the destiny of others. Amanda Amherst, a throwback to the feudal queens and kings, absolute and impregnable. Is there any force that can topple this woman from her throne? Was the mysterious prediction that began this story valid in any way, supernatural or natural? Let's go back to Amanda to find out.
After Nancy told me the truth, I decided to take the bull by the horns. I went to Adam's office. I told him not to announce me. I just walked in. Good morning, Adam.
Oh, Amanda. Or perhaps now I know just exactly who you are. I should say Mrs. Amherst.
Don't be a child.
I just recently discovered, where you and I are concerned, that that's approximately what I am.
And that's a little below the belt. And there isn't all that difference in years.
Well, there has to be, if Nancy really is your daughter.
Oh, she is all right.
Well, what's the matter with her? She won't answer my phone calls. That butler and those two hulking footmen or bodyguards or whatever they are bar the door like the Secret Service, and I'm informed in no uncertain terms that I am not welcome, and she doesn't want to see me ever again. Now, I want to know what's happened.
Well, you might have tried calling me to find out.
Thought you were still in Chicago.
Look, what were you afraid of, Adam? That I'd cut you off at the knees, take away your nice job.
You? Is that what you threatened Nancy with?
I didn't threaten Nancy with anything. I simply told her the truth.
What?
That she'd be making a mistake in marrying you.
Does this mean I'm fired?
Oh, only from one occupation, Adam. As a managing editor, I still find you perfectly satisfactory.
And Nancy?
I'll let you answer that question yourself. I'm quite sure she'll never let you near her again. The one good thing, perhaps, I've ever done for her.
I could kill you for that.
You haven't the nerve, Adam. Nancy's better off without you. It was in Nancy's best interests, I told myself. He'd only have hurt her in the end. As for me, there wasn't any way he could hurt me, I thought. Till that horoscope. Try as I would, I couldn't deny it had shaken me. And I held him responsible. Till Ethel Nixon sprang a new surprise on me. It began when Ethel received a visit one morning. Come in.
Hello, Ethel.
No. Oh, it can't be.
Oh, but it is. Joseph Amherst, a little changed inside, but in the flesh.
Oh, I can't believe it. Oh, it's so good to see you. If I hadn't cast a horoscope of you, I'd have almost thought...
That I died? No. Oh, I tried pretty hard to, but didn't quite make it. And so the prodigal returned.
And looking well and fit.
That's due to grazing in your fields for many years now.
I beg your pardon?
When my brother died and my temporal world collapsed because of that and other things, I went looking.
Looking for what?
Oh, Oh, revenge, I thought at first. A way to avenge my brother.
Oh, but your brother died in an airplane crash. That was no one's fault except...
Except what?
Accident. His own fate.
Or a wife that drove him to it?
Mr. Amherst, you're scaring me now. I can't believe what you're saying. You must know that I believe in fate, not human intervention.
Oh, that's all right, Ethel. It's what in the last few years in the Far East I have come to believe in, too.
How long have you been back in this country?
Oh, a week or so.
Does Mrs. Amherst know you're back?
Lord, no. As far as I'm concerned, she doesn't exist. And it's a mutual feeling.
Mr. Amherst, now, please excuse me for asking, but if you've been around for a week, you wouldn't be responsible for the awful thing that happened in my column yesterday morning?
What awful thing?
I'll tell you all about it. You didn't do it somehow, did you, Mr. Amherst?
Oh, my dear Ethel, I wouldn't know how. But, who else saw this prediction except Amanda?
Oh, nobody. But why would she make up a story like that?
Who knows why Amanda does anything she does? Maybe to have an excuse to fire whoever is managing editor, or...
Adam Brock? Oh, he's leaving anyway. Oh, maybe to fire me.
Oh, no, I wouldn't worry. I don't think that's the real explanation. I think the only reason Amanda saw what she saw is because the black pigeons are coming home to roost. Do you believe in ESP?
Oh, yes, but
How many people do you think hate Amanda as deeply as I once did? As I still struggle not to do. But I will have to fight with every resource I have not to. When I go to visit my brother's grave in Arlington tomorrow. Maybe that's why the ghosts of the past are haunting Amanda. As perhaps they haunt her every year at this time.
Yes?
Mrs. Amherst?
Speaking.
It's Ethel Nixon. I just felt I had to call you. I thought I ought to let you know he's back.
Oh, who's back? What are you talking about?
Joseph Amherst. He turned up at my office this morning.
Joe. Well, my esteemed brother-in-law. I thought he must have died by this time. Did he just get back?
No, he's been here for a week. And he's been... Well, he said he's been hanging around the plant. And even though he denies it, I was just wondering...
If he's responsible for this ridiculous hoax that's going on? Huh? I wouldn't put it past him. But he really must have lost his mind. Have you seen today's paper?
You mean the Post-Journal?
Of course I mean the Post-Journal. Your column again, under Scorpio. I suppose you'll deny that you wrote this impossible gibberish.
Well, I read it, and it seemed to make sense. I'm sorry.
What does it say in your paper?
Well, just what I saw in the Star.
Read it to me, you fool.
Oh, of course. This is a day of traveling for you and meeting up with old acquaintances. It's a day for gathering up all loose ends and finally solving your main problem. A day of achievement and solution. Oh, that means tomorrow, of course.
Just what I thought. Now listen to what mine says. This day will never have dawned for you. Today you will have traveled far, and your death and destruction will take place in Vienna. If you have any prayers to make for the hell you have made for others, make them now before you die, and go from Vienna straight to hell.
How terrible. But don't let it worry you. Predictions are not like that.
I'm not worried. The whole thing is ludicrous. I'm not going to be in Europe, let alone Vienna, for any reason. In fact, after I get a train to Washington, I'm heading in exactly the opposite direction, west, into Virginia. I'm taking Nancy to visit some of my oldest and dearest friends in Winchester, Virginia.
Oh, you won't worry, will you?
I'll tell you what I will worry about. You make sure this is the end of all this idiocy, or I can promise you, Ethel, you and everybody else necessary will be fired until it stops. I don't like being made a fool of. Nancy, are you ready?
I'm not going with you, Mother.
Now, don't start anything. The Stokeys are expecting you, and I can't let them know at the last minute. Besides, we've just time to make the plane.
Well, you make it. I'm not going.
Why?
Because I am getting married, Mother. That is why Adam quit the paper. I came to my senses. He didn't know about me when he knew you. And he didn't know you any better than most people do.
What's that supposed to mean?
Oh, you look beautiful. And most of the time you're careful to appear to be kind and gracious and gentle. But inside you're hard and merciless and evil. All those years you pretended to be the grieving widow. And the careful hints you dropped about my father and other women, when all the time he loved only you. And you wouldn't even give him the son he wanted.
Oh, I couldn't have had another child after you.
That's a lie. I remember back to a night I was 7 years old. I always thought I couldn't really have heard the truth. Well, now I know it was the truth. And that my father killed himself because of you. And because of Adam. You almost had me doing that myself. Well, thank the Lord I woke up in time. And I'm free of you. I'll never see you again. I was livid. The ungrateful little... I almost decided to give up my weekend in Winchester. I was if I was going to have my pleasure interfered with. I'd take care of all of them when I returned. I couldn't stop Nancy from marrying, but I'd fix it so that Adam would have to come crawling to me, begging for any job in the newspaper business. I was still fuming, even after the limousine with Stokely's that sent to pick me up at Dulles Airport was purring along the road west toward Winchester. I had a sudden thought, remembering for some unearthly reason how close we were to Arlington, and that this was the 13th anniversary of Ralph's death. Let's see, I thought that would be to the south. It was raining, and I rubbed away the condensation to peer out idly. My heart freezing suddenly as the headlights swept a sign by the road saying, "You are now entering the town of Vienna."
It was the last thing she saw or knew. The newspaper story the next day began with the paragraph, Mrs. Ralph Amherst, on her way to Winchester, Virginia, and passing through the small town of Vienna, was hit by a car traveling north. Both drivers and Mrs. Amherst were killed. The strangest feature of the accident was that the driver of the other car was her brother-in-law, Mr. Joseph Ward Amherst, who was returning to New York after visiting his brother's grave in Arlington, Virginia. I'll be back shortly. Accidental and natural death, or foreordained and supernatural? We'll never know. The paper with the horoscope in it was burned up with Amanda. Joe was, and men tell no tales. Perhaps we'll just leave it with the quote Joe started, which we'll finish. Though the mills of God grind slowly, yet they grind exceeding small. Though with patience he stands waiting, with exactness grinds he all. Our cast included Kim Hunter, Paul Hecht, Ian Martin, Rosemary Rice, and Mary Jane Higby. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
What are we doing? What is it?
It's all over now. It's gone. Let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Poor Sandy. Just look at him. Ripped to pieces. As if he'd run into the blades of a threshing machine.
But what did it?
The thing! The thing!
What?
That's what I call it. The thing. First, it did away with my chickens, and then the pigs and the cattle. And now poor Sandy, slashed to pieces. And that's not the end. Only the good Lord knows what that thing will destroy next. Or who?
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, brewers of Budweiser. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater. The CBS Radio Mystery Theater presents... Come in. Welcome. I'm E.G. Marshall. Our tale is all about dying. Not about death, but about the actual moment of dying and how it should be approached and dealt with. I think a lot about the moment of dying. My own, of course. I picture myself in a beautiful and rather picturesque bed. Something I don't own at the moment, but I have time. I'll get around to it. My lovely wife, who will survive me, holding my feeble hand. My children at the foot of the beautiful bed looking at me tenderly, and me looking fondly at them and saying softly, good heavens, what will I say? I've been so busy setting the scene, I haven't got around to thinking of anything to say.
Aren't you coming? I can't.
Why not? It's easy.
I can't. Not right now.
But you'll love it here.
Later, maybe. Maybe later.
But when?
As soon as I'm finished here, I guess.
But you are finished, my friend. Don't you know that?
Not quite. Not quite finished. Not quite yet.
Oh, but you are finished.
Our mystery drama, Death is So Trivial, was written especially for the Mystery Theater by Elspeth Eric and stars Tony Roberts and Christopher Tabori. It seems most strange to me that men should fear seeing death, a necessary end, will come when it will come. Those words were written by William Shakespeare. The important line is the last one. Will come when it will come. Not when it is expected, not when it is convenient, not even when it is desired. No, death will come when it will come, which is the theme of our strange tale.
There I was, walking to work as usual, taking deep breaths to expand my lungs, noting the time at regular intervals to be certain I'd arrive at the library on the dot, waiting for every street crossing light when... I suppose that sound was the last to come out of my mouth, and nobody heard it but me. The next sound to reach my ears was so incredibly beautiful that I lay quietly in the street and listened. What else, after all, was there for me to do? There were voices, a marvelous blend of voices coming from far, far away. And I knew, I don't know how I knew, but I knew that these were the voices of those who had died before me. And they were summoning me to join them in a place of eternal joy. I was about to do so. Indeed, I was anxious to do so when suddenly, it had never happened to me before in all my 24 years, suddenly I became absolutely furious.
Officer! Police! Somebody! Why isn't there ever a policeman around when you need him?
I heard some young female screaming for a policeman, but I didn't care much. I, James Blake, was enjoying a sensation I had not felt since when? I can't remember when. It must have been many, many years before. Yet I had once felt it because it swept over me. I felt such a surge of health and strength and power that it was impossible for me to think of myself as which is what I most certainly was, and furious that I was.
I saw the whole thing. That man driving the car, that crazy man, I saw him. He was doing 60 miles an hour at the very least. He went right smack through the red light. He never slowed down, let alone stop. I think he was drunk. He must have been driving like that. One of those expensive sports cars. I think it was yellow. Yes, I'm positive it was yellow. Unfortunately, I didn't get the license number, and this poor man, he really is, isn't he? Are you going to take him to the morgue?
I listened with a sort of detached interest. The police questioned a few other people who'd seen the accident that ended my life, and everyone said yes, the light had been with me, I hadn't had a chance, the driver must have been drunk or stoned, etc., etc. It all seemed very unimportant, and I was completely absorbed in my own new sensation. Deep, implacable anger.
What's the ambulance for? Oh, you're going to take him to the city hospital? You think there's a chance? Oh, I hope so. But he certainly looks to me. Still, if there's any chance at all.
I watched them, put my used-up body in the ambulance, and I knew everyone would do his duty. I didn't care. I knew I was, and I was furious.
Oh, I certainly hope there's a chance for him. I do hope so.
There I was, all alone, somewhere between heaven and earth, without even my body to hold me in place. Then, as the choir dimmed, one small voice, one sweet, small voice separated itself from all the others and spoke to me.
What's the matter, James?
What? Who? You speaking to me?
Of course. Aren't you going to join us?
I can't.
But you'll love it here.
Maybe later. Later, maybe.
When, James?
Soon as I'm finished here, I guess.
But you are finished. You know that.
But not quite. Not quite finished. Not quite yet.
Well, of course, if you want to stay in limbo forever.
Is that where I am? In limbo?
Well, you're not with the living. What would you call it?
Am I a ghost?
Of course not. You have to be properly before you can be a ghost. I don't know what you are, really. However, if that's the way you want it...
Don't go away! Oh, please, don't go away!
What do you want me to do? I don't want to live in limbo.
Couldn't you sort of stick around a while?
What for?
I need someone to talk to right now.
You're a funny one, you are.
What's so funny about me?
Most people in your situation, which I might remind you is scarcely unique, can't wait to join us. You keep hanging back. For some reason I can't fathom.
I want to join you, especially now that you and I have met. Well, sort of met.
Why don't we really meet? Why not, James?
You seem to know my name, but I don't know yours.
We don't bother much with names here. When I was alive, they called me Cynthia.
What a beautiful name. Cynthia. I do want to join you.
Then why don't you?
Because I'm so angry. I don't want you to see me for the first time all riled up like this. I'm not like this, really. Never have been.
Well, if you want to stay in limbo indefinitely...
Cynthia, how can I explain it to you so you'll understand? It's the senselessness, the pure, utter idiocy of it. I don't know why, but suddenly I can't stand it. I suppose because it happened to me. I know people have to die, but not so trivially. Not because somebody ran through a red light. Not for that.
It's been known to happen.
Oh, Cynthia, I never thought it would happen to me. To die in such a stupid, senseless way.
How did you think it would happen?
I don't know. But all my life I've been so sensible. Sensible above everything else. Never caused trouble, never got mixed up in anything.
Never made waves?
You do understand.
Of course I do.
And now, well, I may not have had much of a life as I look back on it. It wasn't much, but it could have changed. And anyway, but it was mine, and no boozed-up bonehead had the right to snatch it away from me. I'm so mad I could spit.
Oh, James.
Cynthia, you may not believe this, but right this second I feel more alive than I ever did while I was living.
I believe you.
There must be other people right here in this town who are going to die for no reason at all, just by accident. Cynthia, I can't leave this earth till I stop all these ridiculous deaths.
All of them?
All of them. I'm going to dedicate my entire afterlife to it. I shall not have died in vain. Medical examiner's office, Dr. Crowley.
Crowley, this is Dr. Hatch. Glad you're there.
I came in early. First day on the job, you know.
Yes, I know. And that's why I hate to tell you, but you may have to go it alone.
You said alone? You're not coming in?
Well, my wife's not well.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There may be nothing serious. But on the other hand, you'll be able to manage, won't you?
Oh, I think so. Nobody's been brought in yet. Uh-oh. Spoke too soon. Like a dead one to me. Put them on the table, boys, and let me have the report. Run over by an automobile, Dr. Hatch. Looks like one to me.
Well, you know the procedure, Dr. Crowley. Just forge ahead.
Yes, sir, I will.
I'll be in as soon as I feel I can leave my wife.
Oh, Dr. Hatch.
Yes? Yes, what is it?
Maybe this one isn't dead after all. I can't see any signs of respiration, but on the other hand, he looks...
Looks how?
So angry, Doctor. I better get to him right away. I never saw anybody look so angry. You must be alive. Nobody could look so enraged.
How do you intend to start, James, on your afterlife's work?
Well, I haven't quite figured that out. This is all very new to me, you understand.
I see a dog trotting along Highway 82. Are you interested in dogs?
Anybody. Anything. Where on the highway?
He's just getting to the intersection. Jackson Boulevard.
That's a terrible intersection. Nobody stops for anybody.
I know.
Marvelous how you can get around when you've got no body, isn't it?
See him? Little white dog, curly tail.
Oh, silly little thing.
And see that big blue station wagon? It's going to hit him.
No! I've got him. Got him, Cynthia. I've saved him.
You'll probably get run over anyhow one of these days.
No, he won't. No, he won't. I'm going to keep my eye on him.
What about all the others?
Them too. And cats and people and everybody. Oh, Cynthia, why did it take me so long to find out what I was born to do? I could have spent my whole life doing this. Cynthia, my afterlife is going to be 100 times more exciting than my life ever was. understand you at all, my friend. Your facial muscles should be completely relaxed. Come in. Oh.
I know I'm not supposed to be here.
No, you're certainly not supposed to be here.
Yes, but I saw the accident, and I was interested. The officer said they'd bring him here. Is that him?
Look, you can't come in here.
I just want to know if there's any hope. May I, please?
There's no hope.
Yes. That's him.
Oh my gosh.
What is it?
He's moved. He's moved.
I didn't see him move.
No, I mean when you knocked at the door. I was trying to find his pulse. There wasn't any. His arms were straight down at his side. Now look at them.
God, his chest, like he was hugging something.
Or carrying something. This man can't be. He can't be.
I had always thought that at the moment of dying, the soul separated itself from the body and went its own way, while the body stayed behind to be finally disposed of with some degree of circumspection at greater or lesser expense. But what if a particular soul is too stubborn to leave the body it has inhabited for so long? Too stubborn and too angry. I'll be back shortly with Act 2. Our hero, James Blake, appears to be leading a double life, in spite of the fact that his spirit is floating in the ether between heaven and earth, pausing only long enough to save some innocent from accidental demise, while his body lies on a slab at the city hospital, watched with both horror and fascination by a nervous intern and a young girl.
He doesn't look mad anymore.
Mad?
When they first brought him in, he had such a look on his face. You wouldn't believe a person could look so angry. As though somebody had played a dirty trick on him and he wanted to get even.
Well, a man who's just been run over.
That man?
You're positive he's...
His heart isn't beating. He isn't breathing.
Well, couldn't he be in a whatchamacallit?
Coma.
Yeah.
Maybe. Or in a shock. Even so, there ought to be some sign of life. Even if it's very faint.
Well, there's got to be some reason why he's got his arms across his chest like that.
And his hands. I mean, his fingers are bent like he was, I don't know.
Like he was sort of cradling something, like he was carrying a baby.
Excuse me.
Oh, sure.
Medical examiner, Dr. Crowley.
Dr. Hatch here, Crowley. How's everything?
Well, all right. I guess only... Dr. Hatch, the man that was brought in just a little while ago, James Blake, hit-and-run victim?
What about him?
There's no vital signs, Dr. Hatch. None that I can find, anyway. But there's something... I can't figure it out. He was stretched out on the table, and I was looking for a pulse beat. Both his hands were at his sides, and... Well, I just left for a few seconds. There was someone at the door. And when I got back to him, his arms had moved up to his chest. His elbows were bent.
Reflex action, Crowley. Pure reflex. It happened.
If you say so, Doctor.
Look, I'll try to get in. My wife's still running a fever, but I'll do my best.
If you would, sir.
But you can manage, can't you?
I'll try, Dr. Hatch.
Do I. So long.
So long, Dr. Hatch. He says reflex action. I guess that's why he doesn't look angry anymore, too.
Reflex action? In his face?
Well, there are muscles in the face, you know, plenty of them, plenty, believe me.
Oh, well, Dr. Crowley, I know you're upset.
I'll be all right. I'll manage.
Look, while you were on the phone, something happened.
What? Well, what happened now?
His arms moved.
Again? Let me see.
Now they're stretched out.
Out to the side, like he was flying.
Oh, floating.
Like a free fall with a parachute.
Oh, gliding. I think his arms are moving a little, sort of waving.
No, they're not. No, they're not moving.
Oh?
It's not possible for his arms to be moving or waving or anything. Look, Dr. Hatch is going to try to come in. Oh. He said so. He might get her any minute. Meantime, I'll manage. Somehow, I'll manage. Cynthia? Cynthia? Where are you? Oh, I'm having such a good time. I'm getting around so fast. It's marvelous. Oh, the things I have seen. The things I have done. Cynthia? Where are you? I've got so much to tell you.
I'm here, James.
Cynthia, there was a lady at a dinner party, and they were having lamb chops. Little tiny lamb chops. And she said, oh, my, what a treat, and how delicious. And she picked one up in her fingers, and she started, Cynthia, it went down the wrong way into her esophagus, and she was choking, and the other people pounded her on the back, and she was turning blue. And I just reached in and pulled out the lamb chop, and she's all right. She was on the point of dying, but now she's all right.
That's very nice, James.
And let me tell you about the holdup.
The one in the bar?
You saw it?
I'm not sure I saw the same one.
Well, this one was in a cheap little bar. This man came in with a gun. He started waving it around like a crazy man, and I thought somebody's going to get killed for sure. So I went to the police box on the corner, and I turned an alarm, and sure enough, when the hold-up man heard the police siren, he ran out of the bar so fast.
So nobody got hurt?
Well, wait, I haven't finished telling you. The hold-up man ran down the street, see? And with the police after him, and he turned into an apartment building and started running up the stairs. I guess he was trying to get to the roof. So I followed him. Of course, it was easy for me. So when he got to, about the 4th floor, I guess, all of a sudden, door opened. Door to one of the apartments.
What's going on here?
Well, the whole hold-up man swiveled around, and he had his gun in his hand, and he pointed it right at this man standing in the doorway. I slammed the door so fast, Cynthia, just in time.
That was very nice, James.
And then there was this woman who got up in the middle of the night to take some medicine, and she went into the bathroom, and she didn't turn on the light. Oh, I have done that so many times. It's a one... Well, anyway, she took the wrong medicine out of the medicine chest, the wrong bottle, a bottle full of something that would have killed her. I knocked it out of her hand. She thought she was just clumsy, but she did turn on the light, and then, well, imagine how she felt.
I can imagine.
And imagine how I felt.
James, listen.
I haven't given you a chance to say anything, have I? It's just that I am having such a wonderful time, leading such a wonderful life. What did you want to say, Cynthia?
I said listen.
I am listening.
Don't you hear it?
Yeah, hear what?
That jetliner is in trouble, James.
I hear it. I hear it.
258 people on that jetliner.
I see it. I see it. I'm coming. Wait for me. I'll get there. Oh, I wish I knew more about airplanes. At the library once, I read a book. I can't remember exactly what it said.
You'll remember.
I don't know.
You'll think of something.
Right, yes. I'll think of something. Wait for me. Wait for me. I'll think of something. I will. I'll get there in time.
Dr. Crowley, his fingers have been behaving very peculiarly.
I know.
First he crooked one finger, and then he...
I know all about it. I was standing there, too, you know. I saw it all.
Well, are those all reflex actions?
They've got to be. Haven't they?
I guess they do.
I mean, what else?
Look now. Look at his fingers.
Why, they're moving like mad.
Dr. Crowley, that's an awful lot of reflex action.
Maybe that's Dr. Hatch. I hope so. Hello?
Crowley?
Dr. Hatch.
Is you Crowley?
Me, yes.
Are you all right?
I'm all right, Dr. Hatch.
Well, my wife's feeling better. Temperature's down.
Oh, that's good. That's fine. I'm so glad.
Well, I'll be leaving the house pretty soon. You managing all right, Crowley?
Managing? No, in a way. I mean, I'm managing, but I'll be glad when you get here, Dr. Hatch.
Well, I'll be there in a little while.
Thank you, Dr. Hatch. Dr. Hatch will be here any minute. Everything will be all right. I hope this
this is right, what I'm doing.
It's bound to be, James.
I hope. What's this little gadget? It worked. It worked. 200 people, you said, Cynthia.
258.
My goodness, that's my best score yet.
I think there's a war starting.
A what?
A war. Lots of uniforms, guns. Looks like mobilization.
Cynthia, I can't handle a war.
Lots of people are going to get killed, James.
I know, but...
All by accident.
I suppose that's true.
It is true.
But to save everybody from getting killed in a war... Cynthia, I'm only one spirit. I'm all by myself in this thing.
Well, maybe there won't be a war.
I just couldn't handle it by myself.
Maybe it won't happen.
If I just had some help.
If you did, maybe you could save all the people who are starving.
Starving, you said? You mean starving? Starving to death?
Millions of them.
But I can't. Why are they starving?
Well, maybe it's the weather. Maybe it's, too much food in one place, not enough in another. I don't know, James.
I can't change the weather. I can't take food from one place and put it in another place. Cynthia, I'm all alone.
Then come join us, James.
I can't. Not just yet, Cynthia. I can't. Not yet. I got a different stethoscope. I thought maybe the other one...
He's quiet now.
There's no heartbeat. None at all. It wasn't the stethoscope.
Oh, he's really all right.
For a minute I thought it was me. Thought I was losing my hearing. When I couldn't find any pulse, I thought, maybe I've gone numb. Some fright or nervousness or something.
Are you still nervous?
Well, not as nervous as I was. Now that he's stopped all that,
Oh, reflex action. Well, he's very quiet. Very quiet.
After all, he's...
Yes, I suppose he is.
You suppose? He is?
Oh, I know that, but...
But what? What? What are you staring at?
His face.
What about his face?
Well, look at it.
He looks very, very peaceful. Just like the way he's supposed to look. The way all people are supposed to look.
I know, but look closer. Look at his eyes. Did you ever see a person who was crying?
I've never seen a corpse who cried. Still, why shouldn't the realization that all things are swallowed up in death be a cause for tears? But how many corpses cry, if cry they do, for their own death? And how many cry for the deaths of others? Cry that they cannot save them all from being swallowed up. I'll be back shortly with Act 3. We left the body of our hero, James Blake, age 24, lying prone on a table in the headquarters of the medical examiner's office at the city hospital, while the spirit of that same James Blake floated through the great spaces between this world and the next, bound on a great mission to rescue all those destined to die as he had died by sheer accident.
He hasn't moved for quite a while.
And he isn't crying anymore, Dr. Crowley.
Do you think I ought to wipe his eyes? A couple of tears left.
Oh, do you want me to?
No, I'll do it. After all, I'm the attending physician. How am I going to explain?
Maybe you won't have to explain anything. He's very quiet.
I wouldn't know how. I wouldn't know what to say. Dr. Hatch would think I freaked out.
Look, why don't you go get a drink? It might help.
A drink? I'm on duty.
Well, at least go get yourself a cup of coffee. I think it would do you good to get out of here for a few minutes.
Oh, what if Dr. Hack?
Oh, well, I'll tell him something.
What could you possibly tell him? Of who? Oh, who would you say you are?
Well, I'll say I'm your fiancé. Oh, by the way, my name is Daisy.
My name's Fred.
Well, go on, Fred. Go get yourself some coffee. You need it.
Oh, well, I'll be right down the hall. The nurse's station. There's a coffee machine. Call me if he does anything.
I will. Don't worry.
I know I'm positive of that, but, well, you know.
I know. Well, run along.
Oh, I really appreciate this, Daisy.
That's all right, Fred. Why were you crying, Mr. James Blake? What made you so unhappy? First you looked angry, and then you looked almost pleased. And then you cried, followed you here. I was the one who called the police, and they called the ambulance. I never saw you when you were alive, but I've seen you almost constantly since the moment you died. Oh, please, tell me why you were angry. Tell me why you were pleased. Tell me why you cried. Oh, please, tell me, Mr. Blake. I better answer. Yes? You wish to speak to?
Dr. Crowley, this is Dr. Hack.
Oh, yes, Dr. Hack. Well, Dr. Crowley had to step out for a minute. He'll be right back. He said to tell you if you called or if you came in.
Tell him I'm just about to leave the house, and I'll be there about 10 or 15 minutes.
Oh, I'll tell him. Oh, please, James Blake, please tell me why you cried. James? Where are you? James, it's Cynthia.
I'm here, Cynthia.
Are you ready to join us?
No, I don't think so. Not yet.
You'll like it here.
I still like it here. Sort of. Did I tell you about the stick-up at the bank?
No, you didn't. We haven't talked in a long time.
Well, this man came into the bank, had a gun in his hand. I kept my eye on him. On the gun, mostly. Because it wouldn't be any of my business if he just took some money, as long as he didn't take somebody's life.
Of course.
Well, it was just like every stick-up you've ever read about or seen in the movies. The man said, this is a stick-up. And everybody got frightened and simply froze, and the man went to one of the teller's windows, handed the teller a note. They all do it the same way.
Then what happened?
Well, as I said, everybody got frightened and froze. Everybody did except one old lady. This old lady wasn't frightened, and she didn't freeze. She walked straight toward the man with the gun. She said in this loud sort of a voice,
Just what do you think you're doing? You've got no right to take other people's money, don't you know that? I'm ashamed of you. Ashamed of you.
The man with the gun ran out of the bank, and that was that.
What about the old lady?
She cashed her check, and then she left.
Well, what about the gunshot?
Oh, well, I caught the bullets in my hand. It's really quite easy once you get the hang of it.
You've done it often?
Oh, sure. Crazy people are always shooting up places or defending themselves against people who never meant them any harm or just showing off.
James, you sound so sort of tired.
Well, it's just that there's so much to be done, and there's just me to do it. It seems so endless. It just goes on and on. Yes, I am tired, Cynthia.
Then why don't you stop? Come be with us.
I can't. Not just yet. I think of the poor, innocent people, and all the animals. Oh, I hope I don't start to cry again. I will soon join you, Cynthia. Only not just yet. I brought some coffee back for you.
Oh, thank you, Fred.
How is he?
Oh, he's been very quiet. Oh, Dr. Hatch called. He says he'll be here soon at 10, 15 minutes or so.
That's good. He moved his hand. Just now, he moved his hand. He's doing it again.
He looks as though he's catching flies.
I thought you said he was quiet.
Well, he was. Oh, there he goes again. Sort of snatching at things.
3 times? Don't tell me that's reflex action. Not after all this time.
But then, what is it?
How do I know?
It must mean something.
The man, how can it mean something?
Oh, I don't know, but I wish it did.
I thought for a minute that he was going to cry again.
No, he hasn't cried again, but... Oh, Fred, he looks so sad. I never saw anybody look so sad. James, where are you? I'm worried about you, James. Where are you?
I'm here, Cynthia.
Oh, my dear. You sound so tired.
That's because I am tired.
Tell me what you've been doing.
Well, there was this little old couple from Grand Falls. They were shopping for a sewing machine. She thought she wanted a sewing machine.
Oh, look at that one, Herbert.
Where? Which one?
In the corner of that window.
How much?
I can't see from here. Come on.
Darling, don't push me.
But you're pulling me.
I am not pulling.
What happened? Oh, look there.
Boy, it's a window box.
It must have fallen from that window ledge.
From way up there. Oh, somebody's leaning out of the window. There's a whole row of window boxes, and this one fell from way up there.
Oh, Herbert, it could have landed right on top of us.
Still disposed for sure.
If you hadn't pulled me.
If you hadn't pushed me.
When I think what might have happened if you hadn't pulled me.
You mean if you hadn't pushed me?
I didn't push.
That was an easy one, of course. They're all easy, as a matter of fact, only there's so many of them.
I know.
Cynthia, I'll never get around to the wars and the famine.
I know.
It's too much. It's just too much.
I know.
Still, I have to do what I can.
James, please.
There's a man coming out of his house on Birch Street. See him?
Carrying a little black bag?
Yeah, that's the one. Cynthia, looks like a doctor. Gotta get to him. He doesn't see it.
See what? See what, James? James, come back. Come back.
I've checked everything for the umpteenth time. I'm positive he's... Imagine. I even did that old-fashioned trick of holding a mirror in front of his mouth to see if it would cloud up.
Well, Dr. Hatch will be here soon.
Daisy, we're not going to tell him anything, are we?
Well, like what?
Like all those movements, like the crying. Maybe we just imagined all that.
Oh, you know we didn't imagine it. Not any of it.
I know.
But it is the sort of thing you have to have seen before you'll believe it.
And Dr. Hatch didn't see it.
He wasn't here.
Morning. Sorry to be late, Crawley.
That's all right, Dr. Hatch. Doctor, this is Daisy.
Oh, well, Fred said I could stay here. I saw the accident.
Oh, you're the young lady who answered the phone.
Oh, that's right.
Well, don't worry. I won't upset Fred because he let you stay here.
Thank you, Dr. Hatch.
Let's have a look at him. Fetch me my stethoscope, Crowley.
Yes, sir.
In my black bag.
Is he... isn't he?
He certainly looks it to me. Oh, say, you know, I didn't make it this morning. This thing happened.
Oh, what was that?
Coming out of my house, I slipped on some ice. Now imagine that. I lost my balance completely. I tried to stop myself every which way, but I couldn't. I thought, great Scott, I'm lucky if I wind up with nothing worse than a concussion. And lucky if I don't kill myself. Then you know what happened? I swear to you, my head was an inch from the sidewall when all of a sudden I righted myself.
Well, how did you do that?
Darned if I know. I just did. I must have
better muscle coordination than I thought. I swear it felt as though somebody had caught hold of me and put me back on my feet. Well, this one's all right. Been for almost an hour, I'd say. Yeah, about an hour. Hey, look at him.
What is it, Dr. Hatch?
Look at the expression on his face. I never saw a cadaver look like that. He's smiling. Big, broad smile. Never saw such a happy-looking corpse in my life. Actually smiling. Cynthia?
Right here, James.
It's wonderful to see you, Cynthia. After all this time.
It's wonderful to see you, James.
Is this where we're going to live?
This is where we all live.
It's beautiful.
I knew you'd like it.
I do like it. Cynthia, I tried. I really did try.
I know you did, James.
I helped a few people.
Yes, you did.
But I couldn't do it all alone.
Nobody can.
Cynthia, imagine a war where no one got killed.
Yes.
Imagine a world where nobody starved to death. You're smiling.
Come along. They're all waiting for you.
I was all ears and took in strains that might create a soul under the ribs of death. So wrote the great poet of the 17th century, John Milton. And with the music of the heavenly voices, James Blake enters the place of everlasting bliss, having given at least a portion of himself to his fellow man. If not in life, then in death. Who knows what happens to us when life has left us? Certainly not I. Why couldn't it be that the soul lingers for a while? As long as no one really knows for sure what the soul does when stripped of its body, why not pretend? Why not imagine that it leaves the body gracefully and a little regretfully, pausing to consider what it is losing before dashing off to see what it is gaining? Our cast included Tony Roberts, Christopher Tabori, Suzanne Grossman, Bryna Rayburn, and Dan Acco. The entire production was under the direction of Hyman Brown. And now, a preview of our next tale.
Don't let me go there, Barney. To that place.
Please, Rachel, don't talk like that.
If I let go, bring me back.
Oh, Rachel.
You're so strong, you can do anything. You can do anything.
Rachel.
Promise. You'll bring me back.
Rachel.
Promise.
Well, I...
You're different from other people. Barney, you're wonderful. I know there are things you can do. Oh, Barney, promise.
Well, I promise.
And I'll help. I'll try as hard as I can to help. And the two together, we can do it. We can bring me back.
Radio Mystery Theater was sponsored in part by imported Vigna Rosé wine. This is E.G. Marshall inviting you to return to our Mystery Theater for another adventure in the macabre. Until next time, pleasant dreams.
Theater comes to you from CBS Radio and Radio 87, WWL here in New Orleans, Our studio is located in the historic old French Quarter. 8 minutes after...